Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Harrisburg University PA Cup. I'm Katz, and I'm here with Audio. And this tournament's been going on for a little while now. We're down to two final teams, and we got finals right around the corner.
We absolutely do. It's a wonderful Saturday afternoon, Justin, and I couldn't be more excited to be here casting these games with you. It's warm outside. It almost hit 50 degrees today. All of that godforsaken snow is melting off the ground. I'm munching on some fresh raspberries over here. And life is good. We've got some League of Legends going on. Harrisburg University, back-to-back champions in the PA Cup. It's going to be Messiah this year trying to take on the Kings Challenger Throne.
Yeah, and of course, Harrisburg University is one of those teams that have been around for years within the collegiate scene. They've had a bit of a revolving door when it comes to a roster. But either way, they're still able to get multiple titles between whether it's the PA Cup or HughFest, whatever it is. Harrisburg's still been able to come out on top a lot of the time. This time around, they're going to be up versus Messiah Esports, also currently undefeated in the PA Cup. But Harrisburg, they want to give them a little run for their money.
Yeah, Harrisburg is a different beast altogether. I think when you're looking at statewide talent, which you gotta put in the context that this is a Pennsylvania-only collegiate competition. So the pool is quite a bit smaller, and Harrisburg have consistently been the top dogs in the state. Now, that's not to say that there aren't still some pretty good teams out there. I think Messiah is one of them. We saw them go undefeated today, obviously not in the same group as Harrisburg University. They were the two undefeated teams, but they breezed through most of their matches pretty easily. And I think their jungler specifically is one that we're going to have to look out for. Most of their games were won or lost through him. And if Lord Ka can get a favorable matchup, and I think most importantly, if maybe Messiah has some sort of level 1 prepared for us, some sort of cheese strat maybe, then perhaps they can take some games off Harrisburg and make them sweat a little bit. But I think when you look on paper at this roster, it's difficult to find a lot of avenues to say, oh, this is where Messiah really need to attack this game, because there's some incredibly strong laners and incredibly strong team fighters on Harrisburg University that Messiah is going to have a very uphill battle overcoming.
Yeah, and we talked about players, being kind of in that revolving door of a roster for Harrisburg, but you still do have two of those big veterans in Hopeful and Moss that have been around Harrisburg for quite some time. And if you're able to stick to an original roster, a lot of the time you're going to start getting consistent. You're going to start build chemistry within that team. Harrisburg, they've been together for a while. You can't forget their fantastic coaching staff as well. You've got Chad Smeltz.
Yes.
You have Xpecial. You have all these fantastic esports veterans within that program.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Harrisburg University. Obviously, the gracious hosts of this event every single year, but it's no secret that I'm a big fan of this program. I've worked with them a lot on a lot of things they've done over the last couple of years. As you see here quickly, the format of the bracket, I do want to talk about this. This was a 8-team round-robin group stage, best of one. So you only got one chance all the way up until this final match. The top teams from each of their groups went on to the single elimination bracket. And then the finals here are best of 3. So as we said, Harrisburg and Messiah were the two undefeated teams coming out of the group stage. They also both won their playoff match and are now meeting here in the grand finals. But I want to come back to the coaching staff at Harrisburg, because I think this is a point that a lot of fans of Harrisburg come back to a lot. And that's the fact that the support staff and the amount being invested into Harrisburg's program is phenomenal. You can truly tell that this school and this program wants to succeed in making a brand, a team that lasts and that can really usher in the next generation of esports professionals, not only just players, but people surrounding it too. And I think it really starts with the superstar names that you mentioned. Chad Smeltz, obviously the GM, the director of the program, coming from Phoenix One. You've also got coaches Alex Chu, formerly known as Special, pretty well known pro player, and then even Tyler Perron, coming in recently in January. He spent a lot of time working in the LCS for teams like Phoenix One, Golden Guardians, Echo Fox, most recently Team Liquid for the last year, is now working here for HU. So it feels like there should be some pretty high expectations on this team. And the recent performances haven't been up to what a lot of fans were hoping would be when they saw that amazing coaching staff presented forward. But I think coming back to the point that you said, that this team hasn't had as much of a consistent roster over the last couple of years. We've seen a lot of players come and go from Harrisburg, often just spending a couple weeks, if not months here, and then moving on to bigger teams. There's been a lot of players like Tomo, spent a couple months, went over to Fly Quest Academy. Speedo, Wixie, went to Cloud9. Sorry, Tomo went to Cloud9 as well. Poom went to 100 Thieves, even spent some time in the LCS. So I'm hoping the roster that we get to see today is one that we can expect to stick around for a while, because Harrisburg, they've had a lot of good players, they've had a lot of good staff, but they haven't been able to have the time to make it all click yet.
Yeah, and of course, things like that do take time when you're putting together a new roster. And we were talking about it a little bit before. This is one of the first times we are going to see this roster in full force. You really don't see too much of it in the early weeks of C-Law. And Messiah Esports, of course, still certainly could hold up some competition. They've gone undefeated so far in the PA Cup. But Harrisburg, once again, I said it earlier, they're going to have to give them a little run for their money.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it again. It's going to have to be some cheese. I'm not going to lie. I like to be a fair and balanced and non-biased analyst. And for those that do know me and know that I've worked with Harrisburg in the past, I'm not currently working for them. So there's no favoritism going on here. I truly do think that they're just a better team in this matchup. I mean, on paper, you look at the ranks, and the highest ranked player outside of Harrisburg's roster in this tournament is Diamond, and that is the jungler for Messiah. And not to like try to rank shame or anything, it's just, you know, obviously it can be so difficult because those higher ranked players, they can have the time to put in thousands of games of experience over you if you're just sitting in Diamond and trying to really focus on just playing at a more of a team game, the competitive level. So obviously rank's not everything, but it's a pretty telling factor, I find. So I would love for us to see a good series in which Messiah is able to push Harrisburg, but by all means the expectation is for Harrisburg to come in and clean this one up pretty quickly, get their third title in a row, and start to fill up that trophy case a little more.
Yeah, certainly is a expectation, but hey, we can maybe see something out of Messiah.
We can hope,
it does
Justin.
Look like we are
Fingers
getting
crossed.
into the draft. Yes, we can hope. Messiah send us to game 3. But here we go into draft. Harrisburg going to be on the blue side and Messiah on the red. And there goes that Seraphine right away. We were actually talking about that a little bit before, but not going to allow the Storm to grab it this time around.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time to talk about Harrisburg's roster because, like you said, the last time that we really got to see them was actually, I'm trying to think back, it was probably Hugh Fest last year. Maybe we saw a little bit of them in the scouting ground circuit. I can't quite remember, but this roster, at least, we have not seen them play, at least on a stream, because their only competitions thus far has been in Big League, and I don't none of those matches were actually featured on the mainstream. I don't believe Harrisburg ran any. So Sand Flame in the top lane, Shorter Ace in the jungle, Like Moss in the mid lane, Hopeful EDC, and Clyde support is the roster here for Harrisburg. Notably just kind of running down their top to bottom. Sandflame is a very new player. This is actually his first competitive roster ever. We have not seen him making any appearances, but I've been told he is a Gangplank one trick in solo queue. So maybe Messiah, if they don't ban that one away, that could be the first pick coming out here for Harrisburg if they want to give him something. Hey, there it is,
yep,
Justin.
There it is.
I'm excited for that one. I've been told a little bit about that and curious to see the stories that I've heard live up to their hype. Shorter Ace going down the line is probably the next heaviest resource player, I would assume, on Harrisburg's roster right here. He's been known for a lot of these carry junglers like the Talia. And he gets pretty aggressive with it. He is also a Harrisburg veteran. He was on one of their earlier rosters in 2019 when the program really kicked off in its first full year. And he was actually playing alongside both Moss and Hopeful. So this roster, rounding out with Clyde coming in from Maryville in the bottom lane, is a bit of a return to the old guard with the new rookies in Sandflame and Climb joining the ranks. And Hopeful, former mid lane about a year ago, swapped to ADCs, could be piloting that Caitlyn alongside Clyde's Morgana, a pretty strong bot lane already locked in for Harrisburg.
Yeah, very strong bot lane indeed. And it looks like Harrisburg is just locking in a lot of their comfort picks here. We have the Gangplank up at the top lane. You give a one-trick GP, the GP, it's going to be disgusting no matter what. Most of the time, anyways. And then you're going to give Caitlyn and Morgana into this Kai'Sa Karma bot lane. Of course, that Karma still can be a flex between some other lanes, but most likely going to be down there with the Kai'Sa. And this Caitlyn Morgana is simply just so strong into the Kai'Sa. The range advantage is just massive. And anytime you're able to get a dark binding down, it's going to be so hard to get away from those traps, as Caitlyn's just going to continue to run you down. Other side of things, we are into the second ban phase now, as Swain is going to get taken up Harrisburg, and there goes the Talia. Thought we might have been able to have it out of shorter race, but not today.
It would have been fun to see everyone across the board get really comfort picks that they're known for. Looking at the mid lane for Moss, is that's, if we're thinking his signature picks, kind of the only one left that could come through is the Orianna, the Echo, are two picks that I have seen him perform really well on. The Echo specifically, I wouldn't mind seeing him return to in this game. But I'm actually pretty surprised. I'm pretty impressed with the draft coming through for Messiah. I think Harrisburg is allowing them to kind of get whatever they want. The Rek'Sai and the Malphite definitely feel like targeted bans for me, not really things that we see often in the meta. But Messiah are drafting for themselves a very clear, defined composition, and that's the ADC. That's the what I've kind of started liking to call the running back comp, where you have one or two players, i.e. the running backs, who you hand the ball off to, and then you just try to block for him. You just try to protect him. You put them in his pocket. You get the Karma, the Shen, stacking shields on top of the Hecarim and the Kai'Sa, and your hope is that those two members are going to be strong enough, protected enough to run that ball all the way to the end zone to carry you into the late game, where any gold deficit that you might have accrued will essentially not matter anymore. It's going to be answered by a little bit of a same idea for Harrisburg, picking up the Skarner and the Orianna, having that ball delivery system, having somebody to execute on those team fights for. So Harrisburg definitely winning out in terms of pressure early on with the globals and the extra range that they have in the bottom lane, but Messiah, if they can get some of these key carries ahead, their team fight does look a little scary, and there's one more carry for them to protect in the Corki in the mid lane.
Yeah, team fight certainly looks scary, and Messiah kind of looking like they're just going for an all-out dive composition. Corki with that package, he can get into the backline very easily. Same thing with Kai'Sa and the Killer Instinct. If you're able to get some crowd control on one of those backline members, such as that Orianna or Caitlyn, you can just dive the rest of your carries onto him to be able to shred and take that team fight win or take that pick, something along those lines that's going to give you that upper advantage. Harrisburg on the other side of things does still have a great pick composition between the Skarner and between the Morgana, but it's just certainly not as strong as it looks like this team is going to want to try and siege down towers, especially with that pick of the Caitlyn. Orianna, you can still use the ball to zone while trying to shut down towers, and I feel like that might be Harrisburg's plan this game.
Yeah, this composition gives Harrisburg a lot of options to accelerate the game early on, particularly post level 6. Once you can get that Skarner into the side lanes and his ganks become that much more deadly, your opponents have to be a lot more cautious about warding over walls, about tracking the jungler, possibly even paying the starter tax. Then you have to start factoring things like the globals coming in from Gangplank can turn those ganks even deadlier. So all of a sudden, anytime Harrisburg makes a play on the map, you have to be terrified of Messiah post level 6 because there is so much that Harrisburg unlock, so many tools that they can just throw at you to try to make those ganks turn in their favor. And then also, if you can get this Caitlyn out of the lane, she is known for just being able to rotate around the map, collect those turret plates, and just balloon gold into her pockets. And if she starts to get her itemization coming through before this front line can get those resistances stacked up, you get Caitlyn a couple of BF items, more specifically onto that 2-item spike, really, then she is just going to start shredding through health bars. Those headshots are going to be chunking people up for 40-50% of their HP, and it's going to be impossible to play her on any objectives because she'll set up that trap line, and even if your tank walks in, I mean, Shen can block the headshots, thankfully, with his W, but if the hacker steps out of trap and takes a headshot to the face and that Caitlyn is accelerated, that's the fight over because the jungler can no longer walk forward. So I think Messiah have to be very careful because their composition is incredibly linear. They might have a very good team fight, but they also have incredibly obvious lanes that they're going to play around. It's this Kai'Sa and it's this Corki that need to get ahead for this composition to work. So if Harrisburg want to attack lanes and they have a lot of options to do so, they know exactly where to go.
Yeah, and Messiah does feel like one or two things they do have going for them is that Shen ultimate. They're obviously most likely going to be running a double TT on both that Shen and Corki as well. So you're going to have those 3 teleport abilities pretty much at any time during the game, whenever they're going to be up. Shen, I'd like to see a lot of plays towards the bottom side of the map. If you are committing to this Kai'Sa saying she's going to be the carry this game, you're going to need to consistently go for 4-5-man dives on bottom lane around 7 minutes, around 12 minutes. Anytime you know that Caitlyn or more does not have sums, you're going to need to make a play on it.
Yeah. I'll be real with you, Justin. I've already said it once. Normally, I try to be a very unbiased caster. I'm just going to be real with the audience. I think Harrisburg have a pretty vast advantage in this one. I would love to see Messiah, again, try to pull something out of the hat and try to make something stick. If it's going to happen, I think it needs to happen at level 1. I think they need to go all in on the cheese. You need to blow summoners. You need to create chaos because Harrisburg, if they're allowed to get into their ranks, if they're allowed to get into these just get into their rhythm that their amazing coaches have hopefully been able to set up for them, they're going to be unstoppable. There's no way that you're just going to be able to out macro this team that has this incredible wealth of experience behind them, coaching them and guiding them. So Messiah need to get very messy with this one. But I really want to look at how Harrisburg played together. I think this is a really good time to benchmark the team and see where they're at because we haven't seen a lot of it lately. So this series, I know talking to the coach, I asked him, are we going to see something funky in the draft? Are the players going to have fun with this one? Or, how serious are you guys? He's like, we're taking this match pretty seriously. We want to make sure that it's going to be a nice, clean 2-0 from us if, we are the favorites. So I am hoping that this is going to be a good win for Harrisburg. Really, I want it to be clean is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and of course, Harrisburg, just like we've talked about, this is going to be the first time we're really seeing them in full action so far this year and with this roster. So we're not sure what the chemistry is between this squad just yet. Are they used to playing with each other? How long have they been practicing with each other recently? Well, it's a revolving door. Is anybody going to be leaving soon on that Harrisburg roster either?
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, we do have some returning players that have been here before, have put in a significant amount of times. I mean, I want to shout out once again Moss in the mid lane. He has been here since the absolute beginning roster, 2018, really before even Harrisburg kind of kicked off their program with the very first U-Fest. That was their big debut. But even the semester before that, they were getting a team together. They were starting to run some competitions, and Moss was a part of that actual roster. He was playing top lane, actually, and they had Hiyami in the jungle, Gray in the mid lane, and Tails and T-Sun playing bot. He and like bringing him back alongside who was a part of that next roster in 2019 with that first U Fest in Shorter Race and Hopeful. I think this is a good way for Harrisburg to kind of go back to what was working for them in the past, back when it was kind of okay. Maybe Maryville's number one, maybe Harrisburg's fitting in there at second or third around there. Since then, they've kind of fallen in the collegiate standings to maybe around fourth, fifth, or sixth. There's a lot of good teams in the last couple of years that have come up to challenge that mantle of Maryville at the very top. So Harrisburg, if they want to remain in this conversation, I think it's good that they're bringing in a couple of players that they have found success with, bringing in a couple of rookies as well. And I hope that they're committed to really sticking with this roster and letting this amazing coaching staff have time to train up these players. It can be so difficult to utilize even the massive experience that players like Xpecial can bring in, like Tyler can bring in, like Chad Svelts can bring in, all the knowledge that they have of the scene and how to grow. It's not going to help you if you're only here a couple of months and you don't get to put all of that into effect over time. Repetition is so important to any learning process, as any coach or any player will tell you. So fingers crossed that this is a roster that we get to see many times to come.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to be able to continue to see this roster especially, and we just look at the collegiate scene as a whole right now. Winthrop University, Maryville University have started to compete with some of the top academy teams as well, and that is evidence right there of sticking with the same roster. You see a lot, maybe one player getting subbed in and out every now and then, and you have the example of Maryville, where Niles just goes to Academy, and they're going to replace that same thing with Winthrop, as they're going to start losing and gaining players the same thing, but you're not revamping the whole team at the same time. Granted, you do have Harrisburg, it's Shorter Race, and Hopeful that have been around for a while, continuing to stay with the team, and we'll have to see, where this Harrisburg roster is going to go with it. Hopefully stays together, just like you said. And same thing for Messiah. I'd love to see that roster grow as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we are, into game.
Into game number one, ready to go. And look, this is promising. This is a good cheese spot. I mean, sitting in the river brush, that one's a little bit of expected, but they're using Smeek almost as big, dangling on him on a string and leaving everybody else over the pit. Harrisburg, it doesn't look like they're falling for this one. This is line of scrimmage. Business as usual.
Yeah, Harrisburg just looks like they want to play a pretty clean game, nothing too aggressive. They have the Morgana if they really wanted to go for the invade, but the level one here, yeah, fantastic, actually. Especially if you get a Mantra Karma Q, that's a lot of damage.
Oh, I was talking about on the side of Harrisburg, because if Hopeful stays onto that skill point, level one, and Clyde is able to land one of those bindings, you can actually, the Piltover Peacemaker does a lot of damage, but I think that the highest burst combo is the trap, or the binding into the trap combo. So, not going to happen. It's all theorizing for no points at all. Maybe we'll see it next game, but this is almost a little win in itself into Harrisburg. So I think the more standard this game goes, the more they start to be favored, because I expect them to start to accrue some CS leads pretty quickly here in the laning phase.
Yep, you can already see Hopeful getting pretty aggressive on the Caitlyn, abusing that range, and a Dark Binding already connecting there out of Clyde. Just going to poke down Old Geezer a little bit.
It begins, Justin. Old Geezer already down to half HP, which, isn't a big deal, but you don't want to be using your potions on the very first event. It does seem like the lane pressure is already starting to go towards Harrisburg as Roy. Oh, it's 1 HP. Ooh. Justin, he almost died.
He is playing with fire right there as he almost goes down. He went in for the taunt, but he's just a level down right now.
Aha.
Yeah.
I mean, this bodes really well for the Gangplank. Running that Grasp with the Undying, you can proc it with your Q, makes it so deadly to just sit back here and fire away. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, especially early on is when Shen has to be the most careful in this lane. Your W is on a very long cooldown. He doesn't even have access to it in the level 1 and 2. And so you have to give a lot of respect over to the Gangplank. You cannot go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, Shorter Race is going to run in Lord Ka here. He is actually flashless. Shorter Race,
So
he's going to find the solo kill in the jungle. Actually does get an assist from Lycamaz with the shield. But another kill going over to Harrisburg already. 2-0 lead. In the game I thought would start a little bit slower. And Lycamaz, look at the damage coming out of this bottom lane right now. Maybe a kill in the mid lane too. Valkyrie away from Speech. Is it enough?
Oh!
The auto! Lycamaz finds a solo kill mid as well.
Fadeaway auto attack, like Mods. It's the 3-point from downtown. Meanwhile, this is going about as I expected. Heal gets burnt as well. Hopeful and Clyde are just, I mean, it's just cannon barrage artillery mode down here with Clyde raining down those bindings. Every time he does, it feels like a summoner spell has to be burnt or a huge chunk of health bar is taken away. And Shorter Ace finding a kill onto Lord Cut early, that is the risk that you run with the Hecarim. You take the Ghost, rather, which is going to give you that huge boost of attack damage in these skirmishes. Yeah, Roy Eisler dies again. But you don't have that flash to escape, and Shorter Ace is able to find a kill, starts to put Lord Cut behind, and now he's in this bottom lane.
And that is going to be Daxplax with nowhere to go. He goes down now 5-0. In favor of kills for Harrisburg right now. And, you know, we talked about it. I gave him a little bit of benefit of doubt. Either way, Harrisburg already starting out this game on the right foot with about a 3,000 gold lead here at 5 minutes. Look at CS across the board as well. Shen just has not been able to find anything. Likewise for the Kaisa. And about 20 CS leads in both of those lanes.
Yep. And this is going to mean that the Stand United is going to be even further down the line. For Messiah here, Shen still level 4, which obviously the top laners don't get as much XP as someone like the mid laner, maybe even the jungler. But I mean, Dax plays is almost 4. Old Geezer was 4 by this point, so he's the same level as the ADC in support, which is not what you want to see when Sandflame is starting to almost approach that level 6, not too far away. Both him and Moz are. So this composition for Harrisburg comes on the line very quickly, and you're still a couple of minutes away from your defensive tools on the side of Messiah, which means that there is a few minutes window where Harrisburg gets incredibly dangerous. And this comp was already dangerous, but once they have their ultimates, they're downright I don't know what is even more dangerous than dangerous. I have not read the dictionary enough.
Just downright dirty is all I'd say right now.
Downright dirty.
Just look at the downright dirty. All the damage from Sandflame right now. He picked up the Sheen on his first back and now sitting on the double longsword as well. Roy Icelord just really is not able to lane right now. The wave is frozen just outside of his tower. And look at the CS lead. It just continues to grow more and more. And there it is. Sandflame, level 6. He's got the cannon barrage. There might be looking bottom lane here as this dragon is getting started up. But I don't think there's going to be any contest. Lord Ka, it's not even going to move for it. That's going to be the Cloud Dragon right on over to Harrisburg.
It's going to be very free. Sandflame has that level 6 now, so should you go for the fight, you're going to have a cannon barrage, making things more difficult.
Oh no, I think he might be able to find the kill. Cannon barrage just
flash away.
Him.
Doesn't
and
even...
Look at that. Sandflame is just on fire right now.
Literally, that flaming sword is just chopping away at the turret there. He's going to be able to cash in those plates on top of the kills. And now Shorter Ace is just starting to bully Lord Ka away from the jungle. They know how strong they are. It's 3 members here just to secure this jungle camp.
And Clyde's walking pretty aggressively here. Now Shorter Ace on the run. He's got Hopeful over the wall, trying to throw out a trap. Lord Ka is going to be able to finish off Clyde, but that certainly is going to be Dax going down next. Now Lord Ka trying to chase down Shorter Ace, just barely survives on 1 HP, opting not to finish off that chase. He actually finds level 6. The ultimate connects, and now he's going to try and chase him down, but the thing is, Sandflame, he's here again. Just a quick little parlay. And another kill to him. Now 4-0 on the GP. He's already got the Essence Reaver completed.
Ooh, this is what Messiah need, though. They need to keep pushing this tempo. I know that fight did not go well for them, but they gotta kill back for themselves onto the Hecarim. I actually think Lord Ka pulled off way too early in that fight. In a normal standard game in League of Legends where it's even, sure. But when you're 4,000 gold down, almost 5k now at 8 minutes, you need to go all in and try to finish off those kills, get whatever gold you can back in your pocket. He felt a little reserved there, backing off to the wave to try to get level 6. But they at least get something back for themselves. Messiah get on the board. It won't be a perfect game. And now that they have some ultimates for themselves, maybe they can look to create some more chaos in these fights and get a couple more kills.
And look at that damage already coming out from Sandflame. He just one-shot every single one of those caster minions with the barrel. Essence Reaver to his name versus just a Ninja Tommy from Roy Icelord right now. And this top lane matchup has just been name of the game for Harrisburg right now. They've been able to roam to elsewhere lanes, and every lane is just in such a dominant position.
And I feel like Messiah is suffering a little bit from the composition that they drafted. A lot of it has to do with just the laning power that Harrisburg has. I mean, Sandflame's about to find his 5th solo kill of the lane in 10 minutes, averaging a kill every other minute here up on the top side. But a lot of teams, you'll see them when they're going up against teams that they don't feel confident against. They go for this very supportive, very late game scaling composition. And I actually think it's the wrong mentality to have. If you are the underdog and you feel like you're the underdog by a drastic amount, you need to be drafting early game. You need to be drafting point and click CC, burst damage, anything you can do to try to get gold back in these fights. And this is it right here. They might have found Hopeful.
Yeah, they're going to look bot lane. Hopeful going low, and he is going to go down. Roy Icelord underneath the tower. The shockwave's going to come out, and he should go down here as well. The Cannon Barrage came, but Sandflame, not without that teleport, it's not going to come down. He'll take some tower or plates up in the top side, though. Continue to grow his own lead, but overall, just a 1-for-1 across the board.
Yeah, a good play, though. A successful play from Messiah. That's not an easy thing to do when you're this far behind, so I applaud them. They're able to use that stand united. Lorca has the speed to get into the back line. It's going to be the mid lane that pays, though.
Yeah, mid lane pays indeed. Now Lord Ka, he's into the mix, does not have his ultimate. He's on the run. He might be able to find this kill as Roy Icelord arrives as well. Now, like Amaz, he's on the run. Shoulder Ace wants it, though. Might be able to find the stun.
He's on the wrong side of the map. Messiah, don't let him live here. There's the ghost.
Oh, the smite.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Maul is getting a little bit greedy there. Thought he might have been able to walk out as there's nobody on top side, but just the speed that comes out of Hecarim is really hard to run away with when you're just an immobile champion. And look at the damage coming through. That's just a single trap walked into there by Dax Plays, and he takes just a quarter of his HP bar.
Yeah, that Caitlyn becoming very dangerous is getting close to her mythic item. 40 CS lead on top of those 2 kills, by the way, is also level 8, which is the same level as the solo layers for Messiah. So things are going from bad to worse. Messiah, though, they got that second successful play for themselves in the mid lane. And I know it's not a lot. Meanwhile, Harrisburg are probably getting just as much gold in the other areas of the map from things like turret plates and objectives and farm. But that gold in your pocket is impactful. If not for the game, then for your mental. Messiah at least is getting some kills on the board. They look like they're having some fun with it. They're trying to make some things happen, which I really like to see.
Yeah, and so is Smeech. He's going to be forced to flash away, but the ultimate's there, and I just don't think there's anything you can do. Shoulder Ace finds that kill, and Roy, you gotta stop walking up towards this gangplank. He's gonna win this fight every time. Or is he? Maybe? Nah, Sandflame, no. He's just gonna
he's gonna win
attacks. Yeah, he could have dreamed. We sent out a dream, but Lord Ka is able to find the kill with the unstoppable onslaught.
This is the second time
onslaught of shadows.
Found Oz in the mid lane. So just a little bit of disrespect here. Again, it comes to the question of, like, what are we expecting from Harrisburg out of this game? Obviously a win. I think most people are expecting a 2-0 victory. But is this a fun game for Harrisburg University? Are they going to mess around with it a little bit? or should we be looking for them to close this one out cleanly? I am always in the camp that if you are the better team, just finish it off. Just close it out cleanly. It's usually better to just practice that anyway as the play comes through.
Yeah, and they were looking for the play, but right there, Dax plays, actually goes in with the Killer Instinct with the Shen on top of him, doesn't allow him to complete that teleport, and it ends up just being a 2v3. And especially when you're down in gold, you're going to lose that every time. They got Shorter Ace trying to find old Geezer, but not nearly enough speed. Boy, Ice Lord will get down there to try and defend that tower to no avail, and this should be another dragon headed over to Harrisburg.
Justin, my man, you gotta start interrupting me more. By the time I throw these calls over, Harrisburg have already finished their plays. Like, Messiah,
too much damage at this point.
Happen. They do, and it was one of the points that I got cut off by all this action that's been going on. But the mentality of drafting this late game, scaling up against teams that you feel like you're at a disadvantage against, it makes it so you don't have a lot of options in the early game. Look at Harrisburg. 4 out of their 5 players can do some form of damage. I mean, even Morgana as a support, she gets less gold, but she goes towards that Zanya's, and that that Dark Binding plus the Tormented Soil combo can still easily do half of a Squishy's health, if not more. So 4 members, we're just excluding the Skarner, that can do meaningful damage on your team. And if you look over at Messiah, I'm pretty much just looking at 2. I mean, Lord Cuz a bit accelerated because he got his kills and he's actually been doing a bit of damage. But later on in the game, when the team fights start mattering, that Hecarim is more of an engage, more of a disruptor. You're only looking at about 2 carries. So I think that Messiah, since those 2 carries are not significantly ahead right now, they're actually behind.
Shockwave.
Things like this are happening.
Right. Yeah, things like this indeed. They're going to flash forward. Clyde's going to pick up 3. Still looking forward. Dark Binding there as well. And now Shooter is going in 3-man combo. And this is most likely going to be an ace for Harrisburg. Yes, it is. They're going to run down the mid lane. And it's only 15 minutes in. So, death timers, 20 seconds or so. They might not even be able to grab an inhibitor at this point.
All right, let's get the votes in. How try-hard are Harrisburg University going to be? Will they take this inhibitor? Because, when you think about it, this should actually be left up. Taking the inhibitor this early just creates a lot of farm for your opponents. Those super minions push into them. I think if you're trying to play this as cleanly as possible, you don't take the inhib, and they're not going to push. Maybe because they respawned. Although I think if they just ran it down, then it probably could have ended on that wave. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, like a Maz, that's just some style to get out of there. Just eat the Q, and you're out. He's more than fine with that. And that's got to be so annoying, honestly, for that Karm as well. You're just trying to interrupt Dax. And
the
fact that Morgana shield is already big enough, yeah. Clyde has been doing a lot this game as well, and he flashed forward. He got a 3-man Soul Shackles in that last fight, got all those slows off, got the stun on too, and he's been consistently hitting his Dark Bindings as well. And that just allowed the squad of Harrisburg to continue to snowball, continue to push their lead, and that's exactly what they're going to continue to try to do.
Clyde is a player that I am very curious to watch. Hold that thought, maybe. All right, Hopeful is able to back off at the right time, but Clyde is a support that has been in a lot of successful bottom lanes, most notably playing for Maryville University, one of Harrisburg's main rival and arguably the best collegiate program out there. And he helped them take 4th place in the 2020 Scouting Grounds playoffs. So very recently performing at a very high level, then going on to play with Winthrop University alongside Saskio. He was with Evan RL in Maryville. Spent less time with that roster, but already they have gone on to take up on some academy teams even in the recent proving grounds. So obviously Saskio very talented, Winthrop a very good team. And we now see him alongside Hopeful, who has been playing ADC for about a year, but is still a role swap player and doesn't have any serious accolades to his name, at least to my knowledge, as of yet. So I'm really curious as to how Clyde is going to be playing alongside
Shorter Ace. Shorter Ace just drags him in there. They're he's in a 1v2, but he is winning this. That's 1 for him already. and he's looking for the second. Lord Ka, he should be able to get out of this, but this Rift Herald going to drop to mid lane. They might be able to try and end on this push. They get a couple things coming in. Old Geezer forced to blow that flash, but the Gale Force forward is going to be able to find the last auto attack. Yes, it's going to be the ultimate instead. And Smeej, you're up too far again, my friend. He's going to get shut down there as well. And look at this gold lead right now. Almost 18,000 gold here at 18 minutes. And Shelly's just going to smack into another tower. They're going to continue to push. Lord Ka finally is finding his recall. Look at the minimap. It's just nowhere nearby. And game one is such a convincing win here for Harrisburg. 18 minutes. It just looks like they're trying to speedrun this tournament.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Will they hit the Nexus here? Do they go for the padded stats? Let's
looks
see.
Like they're just batting a bit ADA right now. And that's because that's already another for Sandplay. 9-0 and 7 right now. Smeej, she goes down as well. You think Sandplay might be able to find a Penta here? They're going to end the game, but just like that, Harrisburg, they're going to be up 1-0 in such a convincing game number one. That was incredible, that what we saw at Harrisburg right there.
Less than 19 minutes, they didn't even give Messiah a chance to really surrender there. I mean, probably just one person holding him hostage in that game, hitting that no, but, you know, obviously domination from Harrisburg, not completely unexpected, but we still saw a couple of kills going over to Messiah. I think Lord Ka was able to clean up some over-aggressions from Harrisburg very smartly, particularly around that mid lane. Moz very frequently overextended and stayed for extra waves, extra plates, stuff like that in the mid lane when he had no business. Didn't have the health or mana bar to support it. And Lord Ka was able to find him twice, as well as, I believe, finding a kill in the bottom side of the map. So a couple of chinks in the armor, at least, maybe something for Messiah to exploit. I think if they're looking to take us to a game 3 in the draft phase, we need to see 100% of the resources sent towards this jungler. Get Lord Khan something that has good ganks in itself, that doesn't need gank assist, has a lot of early damage. I'm thinking like something like the Pantheon, maybe even the Talia, but go early game. Try to just snowball it out of control. Play like it's bronze, honestly.
Yeah, just gotta try and do something. But of course, Harrisburg up 1-0 with that. We're gonna go to a quick break. When we're back, game number 2. Will Harrisburg pick it up 2-0 or Messiah put one on the board? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Finally the end of the drought. We are back to collegiate season. The summer is over. Everyone's back to play, and
we can come back. The other team came back. More energy, better comms, planning. Remember the fundamentals.
Being benched, it's a wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Remember, guys, always do a little bit more than what you think you can.
There's a lot of pressure on the players to succeed.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
Everyone wants to win.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
This is not the time to be frustrated. This is your only time to prove yourself. Literally the last 2 months of preparation, everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
Esports are competitive video games. There's no roadmap to follow. If we succeed, we have a chance to define what collegiate esports can become. If we fail, the repercussions will be felt throughout the city.
Guys, don't get frustrated during the map. Wait for them to make the mistake.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
More people consume gaming online than the amount of people that consume ESPN, Netflix, and HBO combined.
We are 10 days out.
So you really had 4 starters not playing.
I'm just out. A wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Harrisburg PA Cup. Once again, I'm Katz, and I'm here with Audio, and we just saw an interesting game number one here between Harrisburg and Messiah. Harrisburg showing up in top tier 4.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Harrisburg had complete and utter domination from minute one. We're about to see brand new top laner Sandflame. Again, his first competitive roster ever. We have really no experience, nothing to pull from as far as this guy, but he got his game plank, his one trick from solo queue, and he did really well on it. The shield bow build coming through went 10-0 at the end of it all. We saw him get 5 solo kills in the first 10 minutes, and from that point on, I mean, the game was just kind of over. And I'll go back to it again. I think Messiah need to pull out something cheesy. They need to pull out something aggressive. It has to be one in the early game because I don't think Harrisburg wins if they're not over 6,000 to 10,000 gold behind. We'll say 6. If they're over 6,000 gold behind, Messiah have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it was like at minute 12, we looked at the gold lead, and it was over 10,000 gold, which is ridiculous. I could not imagine queuing up for a game of solo queue, looking at that, and not just alt F4ing instantly. But right now, Messiah, of course, just like you said, they've got to look for something very, very early game aggressive. Maybe a Kha'Zix, maybe a Lee Sin, something that can really, really get your laners going, especially in that early game, or you can start to try and invade the enemy jungle and put him behind. But we'll have to see what they're going to draft for, what they're going to switch up. I do expect a Gangplank ban this time around, as it didn't really look like Messiah's top laner was too comfortable playing into it, especially once it started to get really, really far ahead.
Yeah, I would like the Gangplank ban alongside what we've already seen from them, the Seraphine and the Udyr. If they do swap them to the blue side, I have not gotten confirmation on the side selection yet, but it'll be interesting to see if they go for the Seraphine. Now, not a lot of teams can play it. It does require a little bit of practice to play around effectively. I think the champion is busted, is all hell. I am the biggest proponent against Seraphine. I talk about it in every single stream. I think there's no reason she needs to have a redemption built into her kit, and let's not even get started on her ultimate. She is a way over-tuned champion, and teams should be first picking her if she is left up on blue side. But if you are not practiced around her, she can be a little bit of a bait because she's incredibly squishy. And if you get that Moonstone Renewer Staff Flow and Water combo, yes, it's very cheap, and you don't have a carry in front of it to support, she's not going to do anything. So I think that there is a level of execution required for the comp. We'll see if Messiah is prepared enough to play it. Otherwise, you're going to have to ban it away on blue side, and that makes things really difficult because maybe you can't ban away that Gangplank if you have to let something like the Udyr go, or if you have to ban that Seraphine, because I don't think you want to give it over.
Yeah, and the bans we saw last game from Messiah were the Seraphine and Udyr in that first rotation. We didn't see the Gangplank ban. We'll have to see if they're going to adjust to it, try and go for the jump ban.
Yeah, thanks to Pro Draft, we didn't get to see that third ban, actually. I think it was both sides. We didn't get to actually see the third ban, thanks to the Pro Draft graphical errors. The bane of amateur League of Legends, 2 words, Pro Draft. Everyone hates them. But it's a necessary evil. And Messiah, they are going to be banning away the Seraphine as well as the Gangplank. So not comfortable enough on that champion to play around it. I don't hate it. I think it's better to ban it away than to just not pick it if you can't play it, or to pick it when you can't play it. But it is a bit disappointing because I think that that's an incredibly strong champion, and every team should be looking, at least until it's nerfed, to work it into their playstyle, work it into their playbook.
Mm-hmm. And Harrisburg, on the other hand, here are targeting just jungle camps. They know who they've tried to identify their strongest link, and it looks like they're taking that out of the game right now. The Rek'Sai ban, the Udyr ban, potentially even a third ban for a jungle here out of Harrisburg if they really want to try and prioritize that. Messiah Esports, on the other hand, are going to take away that. Morgana didn't look very, very comfortable into the bot lane. A lot of bindings hit, and Clyde was really, really on top of his game with that Morgana in that previous game. we'll have to see if he's going to switch up. He's got a pretty big champion pool, but Morgana is one of his favorites. Hey, True Storm staying with the jungle bands as well and taking away the Hecarim, trying to force Messiah's jungler into something uncomfortable.
Yeah, Harrisburg know exactly who they're playing against. They know that the jungle is the one location where there might be causing trouble. It's going to be the Zoe first pick for Messiah. This one's a bit interesting. Zoe is a character that needs a very specific team setup around her. She plays a very specific way. And so this is showing a little bit of Messiah's hand. Blind picking this mid laner here right away. Harrisburg are very happy with this now because especially on red side, getting the counter pick, they've essentially now guaranteed that they can get the counter pick at the top side and not have to really worry about the mid laner at all. Because you're usually choosing between one of the two. You blind one in the second half, then you counter pick the other. Now they get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, get the best of both worlds, especially with that Lux pick. Lux is actually such a fantastic pick that a lot of people don't think about into Zoe, but anytime Zoe is post 6 and uses that R, you can just chuck a light binding at that original hole that she popped out of. Instant full combo, and a lot of the times, if Lux is got a few kills or is farmed up, that's going to be a very, very easy kill onto the Zoe. Of course, the lack of mobility does hurt a little bit when dealing with the Sleepy Trouble bubbles, but if you're able to stay fancy on your feet and use those shields effectively as well, it's a pretty good combination. Messiah Esports, though, knocking in the Nidalee and Ezreal. Two champions we really don't see too often right now, but the Nidalee, I'm excited to see this.
So, like I said, Zoe is a character that requires some very specific compositions to really let her shine. There's a couple of different ones that you can run. One of them being an engage comp. You use Zoe as a poke tool to get your enemies low, and then you have a couple of members that can have snap engages that can close that distance and finish off those low members. Another one is just the full poke comp, which is what Messiah are going down. They're locking in the most range they can possibly get. They're going to say, okay, Harrisburg, we're going to let you do whatever you want, wherever you want to on the map, but we're going to try to be as annoying as possible while you do it. And this is a very tricky composition to actually pull off. It requires incredible vision control and incredible knowledge of the actual ranges that you have, as well as just the mechanics to land your skill shots. If you don't land your skill shots, this composition doesn't do any damage. But if you can land them, and if you can control vision enough that you're safe and you protect yourself from flanks, this composition is basically indestructible because it's so hard to actually close the gap. You can see Messiah already starting to target some of the very strong engage tools that can actually threaten a lot of these poke comps. The Gangplank with his global, the Skarner that can run at you, basically any of these turbo chem tank users. Thankfully, Harrisburg has actually taken some really good engage tools off the table on their side as well with the Malphite, the Leona, the Hecarim, but they're locking in the Camille here, which is a fantastic way to not only close the gap, but to isolate a member and ensure that they cannot escape. No arcane shift trickery, no cougar stance, no magical portal. If you get locked in that Hextech ultimatum, you are going to fight Camille.
Yeah, and I do not think a lot of these champions are really going to be able to fight the Camille, especially if we saw the performance we saw last game from the Harrisburg top laner. He was just on fire, and you know, it's not his Gangplank. It's not the same champion, you know, we've heard all about, but certainly you're on a competitive team now. You must be practicing other champions because things like this are going to happen. Your one trick is going to get banned. You're going to be sent on champion you're not as comfortable with. Certainly hope he's been practicing a lot of other champions. The Camille is one of them. I mean, is it Kennen maybe? This is an interesting draft. Harrisburg, it got a lot of options right here. This could be
I almost want to say it's a Camille jungle coming in from Harrisburg, and then potentially putting that Kennen into the top side as an answer to the Gnar. It is one of the picks that bullies him a little bit harder in lane because he can just match the range and doesn't really have to worry about mana as well. Yordles are deceptively good laners. A lot of them don't have to really worry about mana bars at all. Especially top laners. But the Gnar is actually a big question mark for me for Messiah's draft because we talked about they want to have max range. They want to be kiting their opponents out. And Gnar is a pretty good engage champion, but a pretty situational one. He's not like a Malphite or a Maokai or an Ornn that just needs to have the ultimate and then he's ready to go. You need to have that Mega Gnar stacked up, and there are very clear windows that Harrisburg can play around where, okay, Mega Gnar is up, let's wait 10 seconds before we really do anything important and make sure that we don't get caught by the Mega Gnar ultimate, because that's some fantastic stats packed into Mega Gnar. When he's Mini Gnar, he doesn't really offer any engage, and I don't think he really offers any disengage, which this team pretty desperately needs. When you're running these very squishy poke members, you want to be running a front line that can peel off of them. Something like a Maokai that can just knock the enemies away and try to protect those carries. Gnar wants to go into these fights, and I think that is a very big disconnect with what the rest of Messiah wants to do, which is poking down from long range and kiting backwards with the Ezreal and the Bard. Harrisburg, they very clearly just want to go in. They want to go in fast. They just drafted pure damage across the board. They're trying to run over these fights. Messiah are going to have a lot of execution put on them to actually avoid Harrisburg's engage and scale up long enough that their poke is going to be meaningful.
Yeah, and the disengage from Messiah Esports just feels practically non-existent. You have escape tools, but you really don't have disengage tools. You have maybe the Bard ultimate, if you're able to connect on one of those, but a lot of the time, Bard ultimate, not the greatest disengage tool, especially if someone's already on you. You're just going to ultimate yourself and pretty much sentence yourself to death at that point. So a little bit of a question mark on Messiah's draft here. I mean, honestly, a little bit on Harrisburg's as well. Looks like they're just having fun with this draft, if that is Camille in the jungle. Not too sure how that goes up into the Nidalee matchup, but if you really think about it, Camille running into Nidalee in the jungle, that's a lot of damage that can be traded back and forth. As long as the spear doesn't hit the Camille, I feel like it's a one fight for the Camille.
I just want to say, shout out to, or not Alex Special, the head coach for Harrisburg, told me that they would not be trying anything fun in draft. This is going to be a strictly serious speed run for Harrisburg University, which means if I am to take him at his word and believe that he is the upstanding gamer that he is, that this is a real Harrisburg comp that they practice and will bring out again. So, unless you're lying to me, unless you're fibbing, Special, this better be a comp that I see again. I want to see a Camille jungle. I want to see Samira Lux support and Kiana in Kennen solo lanes. This better be a meta.
Yeah, and I guess one of the funniest things when you really think about it is he says he's practicing speed running, right? So CLOL tiebreakers.
He just told me that the players are tired and they're going to be taking this pretty seriously. So
okay.
Obviously,
if we're going with for practicing speed running, the CLOL tiebreakers are actually fastest game time. So
there you go.
They're picking up trying to figure out their fastest game time, something along those lines.
True.
Harrisburg Special might have something else up his sleeve as well.
Yeah, it's the new meta. How quickly can we beat teams that are 3 divisions below us? But yeah, I think Harrisburg, with the incredible laning they have again, Messiah, they're going to have to be looking for some sort of cheese, but I don't think the level 1 is nearly as strong as what they had in the last game. You're looking at the only form of CC reliably at level 1, unless you take a Sleepy Bubble Trouble from Zoe, is that Bard binding, but that's nothing. And Harrisburg, if you try to engage them on the level 1, they're just going to destroy you because they have so much damage. Lux can take the light binding at level 1 and get multiple members worth of CC. So Messiah don't even have a lot of options. For them to ideally play this game, they want to be surviving in the laning phase, absorbing pressure, and keeping the game state at an equilibrium until they can get to their first item so they have enough damage to start poking out Harrisburg around objectives. But I don't think there is a world when they have no lane priority in any lane where they're going to be able to keep this game at an even state unless Harrisburg just straight up AFKs it. And what we saw from that 19-minute victory in Game 1, they are not a team that is just going to let you sit and scale for 40 minutes. They want to go home. They want their victory. They want their third title, and they want it now. So, Messiah, I hope they have a miracle in their back pocket. But I think that they should still be looking, again, like last time, to be scrappy and try to pick up fights. Just create chaos and throw Harrisburg off their game wherever you can. And who knows? It's Summoner's Rift. Anything can happen.
If you don't know what you're doing, how could they know what you're doing? And I think that's exactly the idea Messiah should go into this game with. Just start throwing bodies at objectives, throwing bodies into lanes, and seeing if you can get something out of it. My biggest concern for Messiah is just the lack of crowd control they have. It is next to none. Ezreal and Italy don't have anything. You have the bubble from Zoe, and you have Bard Gnar, kinda. Like, if Gnar goes Mega, he's going to be able to find someone, hopefully, but he doesn't have a lot of entries into this fight. You have a lot of long-range carries out of Harrisburg between the Kennen. Pretty much everyone is ranged except between that Kiana and Camille, and even then, great escape tools from both those champions, so it's going to be very, very hard to consistently find those picks and or kills. And then, just like you said, the name of the game right now for Messiah is going to be poking out around objectives. But at the same time, you still have to be able to connect abilities and still have to force and engage after you do poke them down a little bit.
Yeah, going back to that Gnar pick, I think the main use for this Gnar has to be defensive, right? I don't think there's a world in which you can find aggressive picks on the Gnar, because if that Gnar goes in, who follows him? The Ezreal's not going to jump in after you. The Nidalee, maybe, if she lands a spear, but I don't think Nidalee's going to be jumping into 3 to 4 members, even if they have been hit by a Gnar ultimate, because that's just a death sentence. That's a one-way trip. So I think that the Gnar is instead going to be sitting on these carries in the back line and hoping, praying that his Mega Gnar is going to be timing up with the same time that Harrisburg is looking further engages into the back line, because that is kind of their only hope at surviving a Camille, is if Gnar is nearby, has Mega and Ultimate available, to then be close enough to a wall where he can either knock Camille away or knock him into a wall and maybe look for a counter engage. But that just feels so situational for me. All Harrisburg has to do here is look at that mini Gnar bar, and if it's full, don't engage. And if he's Mega Gnar, wait for him to be Mini Gnar, and then engage afterwards. And already, level 1, they found Lorca.
Hopeful can kill him. Hopeful can kill him here. He's going to flash forward. First blood.
Wow.
That is, the speed run, it's already starting.
Initiated.
Indeed it is. And that's going to be a little bit of vision as well. And you give a Samira a level 1 kill. Yep, there is a longsword. Come back with that. Looking good already for Harrisburg.
That's actually huge. I hope he's able to pick up the extra potion, because going into a poke comp, that is the only way that Hopeful actually dies. Oh, and answer our questions, Cots. Both of us first wrong. It's not going to be a Camille jungle. It's Clyde taking the Camille support. This is actually something I've seen him run before. I can't remember where. It's like sitting in the recesses of my brain. I want to say it was with Maryville and Evan RL in some sort of a Q-Fest match, but I've seen Clyde play the Camille support before. It's going to be Shorter Race taking the Kiana into the jungle. I can't believe I didn't see this coming, because I've also seen Shorter Race play Kiana jungle before. This is fun.
Yeah, Kiana jungle is one of those picks, especially when Kiana first came out, everybody seemed to play her jungle, but now not as much, mostly played in the mid lane, but you want to be able to flex the champions, and especially start flexing champions in draft, not really let the opposing team know where anyone is going. Kiana's one of those really good champions to do that. Likewise for the Camille that Clyde is on. I did not expect the Camille support at all, but certainly is not a bad support. And auto trading up in the top lane, Sandflame will find the level 2, and he's already starting to fully down Roy Ice Lord just a little bit.
Yeah, I think the Camille pick is brilliant because the hookshot has so much range. You can get so aggressive just like this. And Dax plays, who is, by the way, subbing in here. So
Shorter Ace
that was a
last Lord Ka.
Here.
There's the root. The damage is going to come out. Shorter Ace, he's trying to chase down Lord Ka. He's going to eat another spear. Not enough damage to finish him off just yet. Flashing forward to find it. But so far, it's a trade with Shorter Ace as well. And now Shorter Ace on the run from Smeej. Gonna take a little bit of damage on the way out, but not enough to kill. But now Sandflame, he might be able to find something onto Roy up here in the top lane. One more auto maybe to finish him off the stun, and the auto, another solo kill for Sandflame up in the top lane. He can play a little bit more than GP.
Yes, he can. I've been assured that Sandflame has been working on expanding in this champion pool to more of just the GP. And I've been told now by chat that he's apparently also a Malphite one trick. I don't know how viable Twitch chat is, what their credentials are. But take that as you may. Looking to add the Kennen to his repertoire as well. We also forgot to mention Dax Plays coming in here, subbing in for Creamroll, who had to step out in the ADC position. Dax Plays is also a Overwatch player for Messiah Esports on their varsity squad, is a 4K plus player, and is also on their Hearthstone team. So, incredibly versatile player. He plays competitively in 3 games at once, which I think is a incredible achievement. A lot of respect for that.
Yeah, playing at such a high tier in a multitude of games is such a incredible challenge, especially when each game's mechanics differ with each other and just the way each individual game works. But while we were talking, it did look like another kill down there on the bot side. So hopeful now 2-0. Dax Plays, you have no mana. He's going to get stunned. I think he's just going to go down. The flash is there. He's going to keep him alive a little bit longer. And hopeful wants this kill, as well as Clyde, the Q to finish him off. And now 3-0. They're looking for old Geezer underneath this tower. I think Clyde's waiting for his E to come back up here. And they're going to look for the dive onto this bard. There's the hook shot. There's the stun. And there is the damage. Another kill.
You're level 4, Clyde. This is just straight up disrespect.
He's 4-0, and this might be something here. Maybe enough damage to the auto, and another solo kill in the mid lane for Leica Moz. That's his first. And the Lux, we're talking about a little bit of a Zoe counter, and not even level 6 yet, though. And just Leica Moz able to connect on those abilities and finish them off.
Absolute domination here. Decimation for Harrisburg. We're going to have to turn on the 18+ filter because they're just like slaughtering, just incredible violence here in the Rift. They're going to try to find Hopeful. This would be a nice shutdown for them. Can they land the skill shots? Nope. Hopeful, he brought his dancing shoes. He's going to sidestep away to safety. But 14 CS on Dax Plays. He has been zoned off so many waves here. You can see him desperately shoving this one out, trying to get some gold back in his pocket. But Hopeful is going to come back to lane with the Noon Quiver as well as the Vamp Scepter. So lots of damage with some sustain to boot to deal with all that poke. Even has triple refillable pots on the side of Harrisburg means that already, if any damage lands, it is not going to stick. And wonder how long it's going to be before they just start blitzing towards those objectives. Ocean Dragon is on the Rift. Will make their laning even easier, as if it needed it.
Yeah, now Smeej, I think you're just caught out. Clyde with a great roam, able to finish off that kill with the ultimate. Now Lux picks up her second kill, 1-8 in kills, and about a 4,000 gold lead already. Sandflame, I think he might go for the dive. Yeah, there's the Slicing Maelstrom, and there is more than enough damage to finish off another solo kill. And now they're still falling in the bottom lane. Hopeful, able to find the solo there as well, and he's looking for the 1v2. Old Geezer on the run. Don't know if you have anywhere to go. Flash forward, double kill there for Hopeful. Now 6-0 on the Samira. Unstoppable right now.
Support? What's that? Hopeful doesn't even need one. He's playing solo lane marksman down there on the Samira. 6-0. He gets a 1v2 kill as Clyde just starts roaming around the map. I'm really happy that Clyde is taking this Camille and being very vocal with it. When I think of this Harrisburg roster and how they want to play games, it looks to be a very mid-jungle focused setup with Clyde being a very roam-heavy support, and Hopeful.
There's the ultimate is going to come out. Just barely not able to finish the kill. He's able to get the last, and Clyde to finish up another 2 kills down bottom lane. This is just ridiculous right now.
Wasn't even worried. Hopeful. He's still breathing easy. His heartbeat is sitting calm and steady. That's just business as usual for the man down there in the bottom lane. Up here as well, Ice Lord, he is getting just absolutely bullied by Sandflame, who is taking his lunch money every single wave. You can see him trying to work towards the Merc Treads. It's definitely the right call for the Gnar. I know it sucks, so you have to spend what little gold you have on tier 2 boots right away. You want to work towards that Mythic, but you need Magic Resist. Otherwise, that 0-2 is probably a 0-4, maybe even 0-5 at this point.
Yeah, and Kennen, once he gets ahead, will just start to snowball like an animal. Across the map right now, you just look at CS lanes, or even actually just looks at the items. Hopeful has an Immortal Shield build ready, and Clyde might just find a solo kill here in the Lord Talk. He's actually going to get put to sleep before he's finished off, and enough kills the combo of that Spear and Paddle Star are going to be able to find the kill. Smeej puts his second on the board.
Fancy little combo there for
Messiah. Gotta be careful. Oh man, I don't even. I don't think he noticed. I don't think Shoulder Ace noticed that portal just did not go through the wall.
I think if Shoulder Ace knows that portal only went into the Raptor pit, he probably flashes over, or at least uses the supreme display of talent to finish that one off. Sandflame's getting another solo kill and almost goes down. There comes the ult.
Shoulder Ace, it does go down. He does get traded on by Lorca, though, and a little bit of damage. Another spear connects. That one's on to Clyde this time, and he's going to use that hook shot to escape. They want to go for a play here. That's a lot of shutdown gold on Hopeful. 700 extra golds give you an even 1,000. And Sandflame, he might have bitten off a little bit more than he could chew. That's the shutdown actually going over to Roy Icelord now. And that is a bit of extra gold into that Gnar's pocket. Interesting itemization. He actually opted for the pickaxe instead of finishing off those Merc Treads as well.
Okay, Messiah's showing a couple of signs of life here. As far to the pickaxe, I don't hate it. I don't think it's optimal, but when you are behind, damage is usually more effective than resistances, just because you build that magic resist, but you're still gonna die, right? Your opponents are so far ahead of you at this point that the Merc Treads are not going to be enough to actually keep you safe. So you start to just say, you know, kind of whatever. Like, I'm just going to build the damage, and if I get hit, I'm going to die anyway. Just don't get hit, forehead. Geezer gets hit, though. He's going to go down.
Geezer gets hit indeed. Hopeful's going to go in. He's going to get locked up underneath the tower, and another kill. Hopeful still looking for more. Is he going to be able to find the triple? They healed him alive, as well as the Immortal Shield will Clyde. Oh, doesn't even need to finish him off. I think the minions actually killed him there, and that's going to be bot tower, as well as another 2 kills to Hopeful's name. Now 9-0-2, and he is just on a rampage. There's no stopping the Samira right now.
Absolutely not. Especially with that Immortal Shield bow, we are still leagues away from any form of grievous wounds. You're just looking at Smeeg having that ignite, but it's currently on cooldown. And even with, I just think the accelerated pace that Hopeful is at, currently level 9, higher level than both the solo laners again on Messiah, and having the shields in his back pocket from like a Moz is going to be too difficult to take down. But Messiah have been able to find a couple of kills for themselves again. We saw Harrisburg getting greedy, overstaying, and I think that is the biggest break point that Messiah have showed, is when Harrisburg do make mistakes. Yes, they are clearly an incredible team and have not made a lot of mistakes.
Dive in the mid lane, might be able to find something. They're staying alive a little bit longer. Shoulder Ace going low, as well as Old Geeter as he goes down. Lord Ka trying to be able to finish him off. It's going to turn right back, as well as Shoulder Ace on the run. He's going to use the smite to keep himself alive. And everybody here from Harrisburg looks like they get out with the kill and a few plates in the mid lane.
Yeah, against better teams, Harrisburg would not be able to make these plays, but at least Messiah, when Harrisburg does overstep, is punishing them. They show good knowledge of where they're supposed to be. I just don't think the draft or the execution is quite to where it needs to be. And then obviously the laning, Harrisburg has just been so good at finding and forcing fights and not giving Messiah any room to breathe. So I don't think Messiah is playing poorly in this one, because Harrisburg is and has been for the last few years the best team in Pennsylvania. As Sandflame, he's a level up, and he might go for another kill. He has no fear.
He's got this like maelstrom if he wants to pull the trigger there, but opts not to. It's actually just going to force Roy Icelord to back. He should be able to grab a few plates. No teleport available. It's another life-fighting kick, connects onto 2. A little bit of damage. Old Geezer, 1 HP, and he is going to go down. Clyde finds his third. Speed's going to try and trade a little bit of damage back, but the Paddle Star just not connecting. like Amal is able to secure that outer turret in the middle lane. And down here, you have just had Hopeful split pushing this entire time. You see Lord Ka doesn't even want to try and fight that right now.
Not wanting to fight is the name of the game here for Messiah. They need to avoid fighting at all costs and try to get to their poke. Lord Ka has the Night Harvester finished now. He actually isn't very behind the pace of the game at all. He's sitting comfortably ahead in farm over Shorter Race. They find another kill though.
He just got
Shorter Race is just
deleted.
farming out these champions, which means he is probably ahead of gold, but at least tier 2 boots and a mythic item. That's more than Shorter Race has at the moment, probably sitting on quite a bit of gold. So these spears are going to be important. If Messiah is going to find anything, it's going to be off the back of these Nidalee spears because they do quite a bit of damage.
Yep, and that's one kill already. He's looking for more. There's 3 in. The ultimate's going to go out, taking a bit of damage, flashing away. The Mortal Shield will keep him alive. It's a bit more damage and a double kill for Hopeful. He's looking for more, but instead just going to back off. And even with 3-4 members there from the side of Messiah, they're not able to kill Hopeful. He's got his summoner spells. The Mortal Shield bow is more than enough to keep him alive with the lifesteal as well as that shield.
Yeah. There's nothing that's going to take down Hopeful at this point other than his own hubris. He is really his own and his only enemy. His own only enemy. That's a tongue twister for you. In this game, the only way I see him die is if he just straight up runs it down into this choke corridor is going to be the death of Messiah. Very easy to line up these skill shots.
Yeah, I'm about to say, it looks like that's what everybody's going to do right here. Roy Icelord, he's trying to run through, but the Hextech Ultimatum takes Clyde all the way through. Almost able to connect on the Light Binding as well, as Clyde just going to be able to walk out pretty comfortably here. So we approach that 15-minute mark. Rift Herald should be spawning back up shortly, and Clyde almost able to find himself another solo queue, but the exhaust comes out in time to keep himself alive. And here we go, continuing to just siege down these towers. Sandflame should be able to pick up this last one, and Shorter Race, he wants more. The ultimate's there, just barely not enough damage. The heal comes through, but Clyde there to finish it off. He's going to try and walk out with style, getting it up a little bit, but finally gets stunned. Lord Ka to get the shutdown. Now Hopeful, he's back in it. He's getting hit by the spear, though, so you got to be careful in that situation. The ultimate's going to come out. Is it going to be able to finish off Lord Ka? Yes, it will, and Hopeful's still trying to fight this one. No one else around. A bit more damage as a Paddle Star goes through. His autos get traded back and forth, and a crit to finish off the Gnar. Now he's looking for speed next. The ultimate, like a Maul's now dominating as he sends the laser from mid lane. And 3 members now down from Messiah. Hopeful, it's just raining terror inside Messiah's base right now.
Yeah, fire and brimstone raining down from the skies here as their base just crumbles to pieces. There's not much they can do other than watch. Hopeful just ignores them. He's 4 levels up over this bottom lane right now. Sandflame doing the same thing on the top side. And there's not much left Messiah can really do but hope.
Ooh, almost able to find the kill on the Sandflame there. He's forced to blow his flash, keep himself alive, but I mean, just look at Hopeful down here. He is 1v2 in this situation. They're not even bothering on trying to engage them. Going to give up that inhibitor, and Hopeful is just going to continue to straight. He is just diving deep into the space. He's going to put out the ultimate, trying to chunk out old Geezer, not able to find the kill, dodges away from the spear, and is still on the run. He is low HP. Another Q connects. They want it. Bubble doesn't connect either, but the spear is finally enough to finish him off. That's Hopeful's first death, and 1,000 gold into Lord Ka's pocket.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Harrisburg, in no world should Hopeful be allowed to 1v4, finish off the inhibitor, dive the Nexus towers, and get a kill onto the tankiest member of Messiah's team. But at least Messiah, when he does overstep and do that and be greedy, are able to find the kill on him. So that is a very good point that I want to continue bringing up, is that Messiah is not just rolling over. The gold lead is a bit misleading. Harrisburg, yes, have been the better team on the Rift and are just taking whatever they want. But when they get too greedy, Messiah at least has had the ability to make them pay for it a little bit. Hopeful will not be walking away with the flawless record that I'm sure he would have enjoyed. And I'm sure Harrisburg's social media team would have enjoyed it. Because 15-0 looks a lot better. gets more likes than 15-1.
Yeah, but here we go. There's the Mega Dart engage. He's going to be able to stun up shorter Ace, but Spear is there. He's going to be able to enough to finish him off. Yes, Paddle Star takes down Kiana. She's out of the fight. Lord College able to survive. The Hopeful has joined. He's already picked himself up too. The laser from Mega Maz actually finishes Lord Ka as well. So it's only Speech and Dax plays remaining, and Hopeful wants it. He's just walking through the tower, does not care at this point. Clyde trying to chase him down, City's Bubble Trouble does not connect, and they are just taking this one to town. Another kill as Leica Maz goes legendary, almost able to kill Hopeful as he just survives on 1 HP. But hey, he's got plenty of life steal. He's gonna heal all the way back up to full, trying to find the kill on the Smeege. Unfortunately, not there just yet, and traded right back inside your own fountain. That Smeege going down. There's so little he can do. Hopeful just dropping out the ult. He's got so much damage. 1 in 4. And it is just unstoppable right now from Harrisburg. They're going to farm up their KDA. Let it happen. Flash it. You're not going to be able to find the kill. But at the end of the day, you are more than happy with a 22-5 score line, as the Nexus is just getting slapped away on. Harrisburg University are going to be your PA Cup champions once again. That's the 3-peat.
Yeah. Back to back to back here for Harrisburg University. They're able to bring home another title, another trophy for the case that nobody gets to look at because of darn old COVID. Hopefully it goes away soon. We can get back to seeing these events live in person. I don't want to be in this room anymore. I want to be live with all of you enjoying these games. But we have to do what we have to do so far. And Harrisburg did what needed to be done in that series. They took it home real quick. 2 sub-20 minutes. Did that second one get in before that 20-minute mark? 2 sub-20-minute games. And they take home the victory. Very impressive for them. We got to see an interesting draft here in game number 2 that I hope it was not just a one-off, not just a, hey, let's have fun, but I hope that's something that Harrisburg actually practices, because Clyde, I swear I've seen you play that Camille support before somewhere. I swear it worked out well, and I swear I want to see more of it.
Yeah, and Clyde on that Camille was pretty much unstoppable throughout that game. He got on fire himself and was able to pretty much solo kill the AD carry by the end of the game. So Clyde, I'd love to see some more of that Camille support, and he was also just moving across the map very, very efficiently and punishing whenever someone took a misstep. Someone walks up a little bit too far in lane, hook shot, mostly turns it into a kill 80% of the time. With that, your AD carry is going to end 20-2.
Yeah, it absolutely will. And that's what happened. I mean, Harrisburg, nobody expected them to come in and not win this whole thing. When you do have these smaller area locks tournaments, it can be a bit one-sided, but it's still, again, a good way to check in on how Harrisburg is doing. And I think that can be very important, especially right now when we have the Proving Grounds going on. And this year has really been the first year in League of Legends history, at least here in North America, that we have a clearer path to pro for aspiring players who want to get into these professional teams. And it's through something like the Proving Grounds. And with that being opened up to collegiate, and with us seeing teams like Maryville University have players go straight from collegiate all the way up to LCS, I think it's really important to now keep an eye on tournaments like this, even if the rest of the schools in PA are still trying to catch up. It's great to see the progress, because already Messiah this year look better than they did last year. The same can be said for a lot of the schools that returned from previous PA Cup tournaments. You can obviously see the level of skill improving year over year. And that is something super exciting to watch as a commentator, because I get to watch these players grow and get better, and I get to get better right alongside them. And I'm super excited for the rest of this year and the next couple of years for amateur, because it's going to blow up.
Yeah, of course, amateur consistently growing here with the ending of the Unified Grand Prix yesterday. You have a lot of different things between Proving Grounds. We've seen amateur teams, collegiate teams play, and of course academy teams. And we have seen some fantastic games between all three. We're really starting to show the strength of all these different squads from all these different areas. And we're just going to continue to see them grow. The skill level will continue to rise. It might take a year or two, but it will be there.
And next is high schools. You're on the list. We know that you want League of Legends. But I do believe we are going to be getting an interview from one of the HU players. If I am not mistaken, it'll be Sandflame, the brand new top laner.
Yeah, but I do believe we are going to go to a quick break. When we're back, it is going to be an interview with Sam Flame. With that, don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Hello, guys. This is finally the end of the drought. We are back to collegiate season. The summer is over. Everyone's back to play, and
We can come back. The other team came back. More energy, better comms, planning. Remember the fundamentals.
Being benched, it's a wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Remember, guys, always do a little bit more than what you think you can.
There's a lot of pressure on the players to succeed.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
Everyone wants to win.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
This is not the time to be frustrated. This is your only time to prove yourself. Literally the last 2 months of preparation, everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
Esports are competitive video games. There's no roadmap to follow. If we succeed, we have a chance to define what collegiate esports can become. If we fail, the repercussions will be felt throughout the city.
Guys, don't get frustrated during the map. Wait for them to make the mistake.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
More people consume gaming online than the amount of people that consume ESPN, Netflix, and HBO combined.
We are 10 days out.
So you really had 4 starters not playing.
I'm just out. A wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I am Katz, and I am here with Audio, and we are joined by Soulflame, Harrisburg's top laner, brand new, and of course, super performing in the last 2 games. Love that GP and love the Kennen. So, first off, let's start off. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty
good
good.
After that game?
Pretty good. It's pretty fun getting to play like 2 champs I really love, GP and Kennen, so nice to win on them.
Sandflame, Justin Collins for the audience. Do you mind if I call you Justin?
Go ahead. I go by Juco, actually.
Juco, even better. Thank you so much. So you are brand new not only to Harrisburg, but if I'm correct, this is your first time playing competitively in League of Legends. Can you kind of walk me through why you wanted to become a competitive player and why you come to Harrisburg?
Well, I really love League. It's actually pretty random that I ended up doing this. I saw a random tweet from X Special, like, oh, we're doing tryouts or whatever. At first, I didn't even bother clicking. I was like, there's no way. But then someone else told me, like, hey, like, you should try. And then there's a couple hours left, and I decided, might as well. And then one day they're like, hey, come try out. And then I thought it would be a really cool opportunity, so I went for it.
Wow, just kind of fell in your lap. That's one of the best ways to make it in. Talking about your champion pool, you said you got to play some fun champs, and I know that you're particularly well known for that Gangplank in the top lane. But getting a chance to talk with Alex, he said that you've been working on expanding your champion pool. What are some of those champs that you're looking to bring into that top lane pool?
Well, a big one that we've been playing the most is definitely Gnar. I'm kind of transitioning from a GP one trick to a Gnar one trick, so that's been the main thing. Gnar, Renekton, yeah, just meta stuff. Renekton, Gragas, Camille, working on those. So trying to keep the pool small, but try to master the few that I do play.
Now, you've got some pretty impressive coaches working for the Storm, with both Xpecial and Tyler joining you guys recently. What's it been like working with them?
It's really insane. Like, their understanding of the game is like the way they break things down and make it so simple and easy to understand. Like, they point out things that are so obvious that I would never find on my own, like playing for like years. So it's really incredible.
Yeah, of course, this certainly must help a lot. And you guys are consistently improving. You guys have been consistently improving. Do you have any big goals set for this season?
Well, we just want to win CLOL,
Yeah.
Our support really, our support really wants to beat Maryville, so we got to do it for him, He was there before, so he's got to get back. Yeah.
They did lose a couple of their players, but they're still looking strong. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. Harrisburg versus Maryville is always a fun one to watch, but hopefully you can help us bring home a couple more wins for the Harrisburg side. Maybe they'll let that Gangplank through just one time.
Maybe.
Yeah, of course. Disgusting Gangplank, disgusting Kennen, and congratulations on the wins today. Thank you so much for interviewing with us. And you have anything else to say before we let you go?
No, I just want to say thanks to all my friends and family who've been watching, and we definitely have more to come. So stay tuned.
We certainly will. Of course, thank you so much for Sandflame for interviewing with us. What's your Twitter? Sandflame Law, correct? And of course, you guys are just to go ahead and follow over there. Go check him out. New rising beast over here at Harrisburg. But of course, thank you guys for tuning in to the Law broadcast tonight. And of course, congratulations to Harrisburg for picking up the victory. Yep. And once again, I'm Katz. I was here with Audio. We're going to have the Overwatch broadcast up just shortly for the finals there as well. So go ahead, grab some snacks, grab some dinner, and we'll be back in a bit.
Good evening to all you amazing viewers. Welcome back to the 2021 Overwatch PA Cup. We did just see League of Legends finish not too long ago, where Harrisburg took that #1 spot for the 3rd year in a row, and now we're looking to see if they can do the same for this consecutive year in Overwatch. I am your caster, Rich Rad, here with Kenobi, and I gotta say, my friend, it's been a very, very exciting week of scholarly Overwatch for us. This is just another one that we get to participate in.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Earlier, we were casting some collegiate Overwatch, and now we get to cast more collegiate Overwatch, and I am very excited that we get to see one of those teams that we kind of designate as the Big Four, right? Where you have Utah, Maryville, Northwood, and then you got Harrisburg right up there with the rest of them. And I think it's going to be a absolutely great series because Harrisburg University is always one of those teams that just have such a solid roster.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, speaking of not only the roster, but just this, you know, tournament in it of itself. I mean, the fact that it's the 3rd year running, there are a lot of teams that were invested into this. We had 8 participants this year going into it, which again, we had last year. We had the completion where it was actually against Penn State, who we casted earlier today, that Harrisburg took for this 2nd year, and now looking to try and get this 3rd year. But as we take a look at the format, like I said, 8 teams. We've got that round robin format, which was the best of 3, into a single elimination bracket, which was best of 5. We saw those semifinals where it was Harrisburg taking down Temple University 3-0, and then we have Messiah University that was also there in the semis with the best of 5, taking out Penn College 3-0. So both these teams going into this finals, as you can see, for best of 5 for that #1 spot of the $1,200 for this team. Second, still getting a nice, lovely, rewarding prize of $600 for their efforts. And, you know, honestly, I think both these teams are going to have an interesting fight against each other. 3 O's going from the semis into this grand finals. And I mean, let's be honest, we can tell with the map rotation. We've got Control, Hybrid Assault, Escort, rotating back Control. Kenobi, I mean, we've seen these 2 teams do some work before, and now I'm looking forward to seeing them go head-to-head into this PA Cup.
Yeah, especially because we're seeing a new type of meta that, like, the last time we saw Harrisburg, at least on broadcast, last season in our Overwatch Collegiate Varsity Championships, when they got all the way to the grand finals, if I remember correctly, it was interesting because they were playing this meta that's a bit different than where we are now. Where we are now, it seems to be more like the double bubble compositions. The rush style of compositions are coming back in a big way. Tracer still, though, extremely important. So I think Tracer is what I'm going to be looking at for at the start here as we start on our first map, which is going to be Oasis. And Oasis is interesting because it offers a chance for us to see different types of scenarios and different types of stages of Oasis where we can see, you know, if it's University, Brawl, very, very, you know, standard on that map. If we go to Gardens or something like that, it's usually more of that open double bubble style of play. So depending on what stage we go to in Oasis, I think that's going to be really indicative of what these teams are more comfortable with, because if we see the variation in compositions, then we'll know what these teams prefer.
And if you talk a little bit further, like with me about the whole Tracer, we've seen some May as well earlier coming out on Oasis. Elk is a big name that sticks out for me when it comes to Harrisburg. Yep. I mean, even back in the varsity series where they took 2nd place, they were able to manage to get a lot of use. Elk had a lot of value there. This roster basically staying the same, except for just the single individual, Juby, being, you know, brought up to the Overwatch League and managing now to work with the team that they've got. I would not be surprised to see that same type of basically fortified foundation for their team to compete against Messiah.
Yeah, I mean, big credit to Juby, who is going to be going to the Houston Outlaws as their new main support player, and, you know, hats off. That I think that's one of, I mean, there were some collegiate players beforehand who have moved up to Overwatch League, but they seem to be a little bit few and far between, and Juby being one of them is really a great boon, I think, for the collegiate scene in general. And for Harrisburg, like you mentioned, the rest of the team has stayed relatively the same. You know, Elk is still there. The team, I bet, is still just as coordinated as they were last time we saw them in the Overwatch Varsity Championships. I think it's going to be a game or a series where Harrisburg really can cement themselves as one of those top 4, right? Prove that they're the best team in PA, prove that they are still one of the best teams in just collegiate and overall rather, and then we can just move forward from there and see what they do against some of the other top teams in collegiate.
And as we take a look now, going on to our first map of Oasis, we're going to be entering onto University. So, again, we talked about University. This is a map where May does have a lot of relevancy, and you've got Elk hovering over it already. And, you know, Cyrus has worked so well with Elk on this DPS lineup that this McCree is going to be very, very assistive to this type of composition.
Yeah, and the thing about the Mei that's going to be interesting here is you're going to be looking out for those walls being the really key factor, and Messiah College bring in a composition with no shielding whatsoever, so the spam from Harrisburg University could get a lot of value as Harrisburg University move through and try and get some kills.
Does get a nice rotation. Divio gets the takedown early onto that Roadhog play, unable to mitigate any sort of damage. And nice Maywall to also sever, cleaning up with that hammer, swinging left and right. And gonna reset to look to fall back and take this point.
And I think that's exactly what you have to do as Harrisburg right there. Very good understanding of when you need to go forward, section off some members of Messiah College. They get the Roadhog alone by themselves, freeze it up, take it down, even take a breather isn't able to help them. But Messiah College, they're not finished yet. Harrisburg University still wants some of them. They're going all the way to the spawn doors.
Yep. Green means go, and the pedal is being forced as basically through the floor of the vehicle at this point.
Yeah. I mean, Elk, again, with these walls has been phenomenal so far. Every single wall, it seems like, is always just taking out a member of Messiah College and putting them alone. And against the composition like Harrisburg University, if you're alone, you're almost dead.
Oh, X22 managing to get the Dragon Blade out, attempting to get some follow-through after, but that stun coming through from the McCree play. Cyrus able to land it, just stabilizing and keeping this climbing past that 40%.
Oh, and Elk goes down. Akala trying to pull something back. Cyrus uses that Deadeye just for the reload, and I think right now, if you're Harrisburg, you're just trying to get as much percentage out of this as possible. You don't have your tanks with you.
Yeah, you're going to have that Lucio play around the inner side, though the Boop almost gets pushed into the center, which would have been very beneficial, but unfortunately falls shy, as you've got Messiah managing to take this and starting to gain some percentage in this battle.
And you see Elk has switched back over to the Tracer. Sound Barrier committed. They're going in aggressive here.
Yeah, they're just going to instantly take this fight after they get a full 6. And with that assistance from the Sound Barrier and the Immortality Field, that's an instant take back shortly after this initial probably 25-ish% that'll be staggered out here for a short while.
I actually really love aggressive sound barriers like that from Akawa. You just go in, you know you have a sustainability advantage with what Messiah College is playing, and you have no fear whatsoever. You're able to get a couple of picks, and then the fight completely turns on its head for you. And for Harrisburg University, ultimate economy looking pretty decent in this next fight, but Messiah College have both their tank ultimates. The zoning Deadeye coming in from Cyrus. Can it get anything?
Doesn't manage to get much, but it still deals a significant amount of damage for a follow-through to come out. X22 again does get this blade up quickly to try and turn the tides, but still can't manage to get any value from it, especially when the Immortality Field's there.
And we're at 88% right now and ticking upwards for Harrisburg University. Still, a lot of ultimates in favor for them. Elk flanking with this Pulse Bomb. He's going to get someone. They have no idea he's here.
Yep, instantly gonna toss it out. Nobody suspecting at all is correct. And didn't even have to dash. It's just, let me wait for it. I'm gonna, there we go.
He just lobbed it, you know. Kobe.
It's okay. If anything, if that was one of those moments where it misses, that's one of those moments that you never forget. So that's the other end of the spectrum, if it were to. But with Elk's
it stuck
proficiency,
right to the, it stuck right to the McCree's like shoe too. Like it's right? just like he stepped in something. He's like, what? Oh, that's what that was. Okay, I see.
I mean, you're probably thinking too, if you're that McCree player, you're walking forward, all of a sudden you hear blink, 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 boom, and you're like, oh, come on.
Yep. Harrisburg University okay, so this is interesting because we're going to a different map. Obviously, Garden's a little bit more open than something like University where it's more enclosed, and we're seeing the double bubble composition coming out from Harrisburg University. This is actually kind of remnant of like old school GT dive, except there's a Zarya instead of the Diva that we usually see, and that Mercy gets way too over aggressive, and they're going to go down, and that's going to be the fight wrapped up completely for Harrisburg University.
And at this point now, you're just going to get the staggers. It's going to force time back. It's also going to get a decent amount of extra ultimate charge. You've got already almost 50% to that primal rage here. Just sitting pretty, at least for a tank ultimate.
And losing the Mercy so early, you not only do you lose your resurrection ability, but you lose a lot of healing output. Ana does have a ton of healing output herself, but you still need a Mercy to kind of keep the rest of your teammates alive and also get that damage boost. As you see, Elk still on the flank. Elk's been good on the flank before. Can he get anything? They're all antied.
Just elusive, manages to survive with that shield coming through from Messiah. The Zarya play, great responsiveness to survive with that Bionade landing. Akawa does go down here, so there's a chance to press on. There's still going to be a lot riding on the shoulders of Soames to keep this team up and healthy, but with how that ultimate's coming online for Elk, the Dragon Blade, even the Primal Rage, is that you'll have sustainability from Mikey on the front. Dragon Blade does come out. Cyrus looks to get the follow-through, but the supports are already doing some work as Akawa gets back into this as a full 6. You know, at this point, it's just another cleanup.
And I actually really love what Harrisburg University did there, where they disengaged after Messiah College got that advantage with that one pick onto Akawa. They just disengaged, farmed their ultimates. They know they have Nano Blade, which can just turn the fight completely on its head. They're taking out the Genji. They're basically getting Oh, no, that's dirty.
Grab bio. If that's not play of the game for an Ana, I don't know what it is. Because that's just, you hope for moments like those when you're an Ana player.
Yeah, that was filthy. Just no shielding, no shields available. You just hit a huge, fat anti-nade, and 75% and ticking up here for Harrisburg University. Messiah College is coming back in. They have the Nano Blade available to them, but Akawa is very close to this sound barrier. Has it now, so they have the ability to sustain through this damage.
Oh, and it comes out in a perfect time to prevent that Dragon Blade. Ooh! With the sleep, mind you, keeping distance, does sheathe the blade, and a great counter. And so much responsiveness to these ultimates that are being forced out by Messiah to try and at least touch this point and keep it into the overtime. But Harrisburg falling in suit, knowing exactly what to use to counteract it and stabilize through it. That's what's going to be able to have them prevail on this control map to make it a 100-0 in the grand scale of it all.
The peel from Harrisburg is just absolutely nutty, Rich. I mean, it seems like every time someone's low health, there's like a bubble there. Akawa's there with the Lucio to boop him away, and Harrisburg University take a very convincing first map of these grand finals here on Oasis.
I also just have to highlight, I love that skin from the Zarya. Yeah, we're going to get to see a close-up right now.
The Sinatra skin, yeah.
Yes, indeed. As you can see, just look at how 3 DPS, 100 energy. You've got just a ton from the Tesla cannon damage as well as Mikey cleans up towards the end of this. Just overall, well-rounded structure from Harrisburg, really putting a edge to their play over Messiah. And, you know, with Messiah now moving into this next map, which is going to be an Assault, I'm really curious to find out what kind of mentality they have carrying into this and what they can do to really try and counteract this strong play of Harrisburg.
And I mean, you could even see there in the cards at the end, Elk had 73% kill participation, and I talked about Tracers being incredibly important, and there wasn't really that much Tracer play from Messiah College. It was just Tracer coming out from Elk mostly and already paying dividends. Tracer's still in a very good position, even after the nerfs that she's gotten. So going forward, I think that's Elk is still someone to be looking out for in terms of their Tracer play, and we'll have to see what Messiah College can do going into our second map.
Yes, indeed, and it will be Messiah's choice here going into map selection for the Assault, which is either going to be Volskaya Industries, Hanamura, or Temple of Anubis, as we have Harrisburg managing to choose the side. But before we get that selection, we'll be heading to a brief break to give them time to make this decision, so don't go anywhere because we'll be back to see this second match.
Finally the end of the drought. We are back to collegiate season. The summer is over. Everyone's back to play, and
we can come back. The other team came back. More energy, better comms, planning. Remember the fundamentals.
Being benched, it's a wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Remember, guys, always do a little bit more than what you think you can.
There's a lot of pressure on the players to succeed.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play now.
Everyone wants to win.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
This is not the time to be frustrated. This is your only time to prove yourself. Literally the last 2 months of preparation, everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
Esports are competitive video games. There's no roadmap to follow. If we succeed, we have a chance to define what collegiate esports can become. If we fail, the repercussions will be felt throughout the city.
Guys, don't get frustrated during the map. Wait for them to make the mistake.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
More people consume gaming online than the amount of people that consume ESPN, Netflix, and HBO combined.
We are 10 days out.
So you really had 4 starters not playing.
I'm out. I'm just out. A wake-up call. We need to work even harder.
Everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
We return with more Overwatch friends for this amazing 2021 PA Cup. As we've already seen Harrisburg take the first control map, we're actually going to be heading now to a hybrid map. I totally lied to you before the break. It is not going to be Assault, and we are going to a not so surprising map, Kenobi, and it's going to be King's Row.
Kings Row next map. I mean, it feels like we've only casted Oasis and Kings Row today. Luckily, this series is a best of 5, so we'll see at least one extra map. But today, we've casted 4 Oasises or Oases. I don't know how to
Oasi
and 4 Kings Rows. Oasi. Your guess is as good as mine. English was not my forte as a caster.
There's probably an English major in the viewers. And or someone specifically in English, and they're just like, "Come on, casters! Like, come on, it's okay. We'll get tweeted at.
You
just like it should have been this."
You speak for a living about video games. Can you not come on?
But yes, we are going to be entering into Kings Row. We've seen some interesting plays coming out for this map. We've seen some very unique one-offs where there's a Bastion play on top of the statue. We've seen some interesting utility of Reinhardt's trying to find shatters combined with May over the wall on the fly. We've seen just a lot of different things to this map because, again, it is such a popular map. Everyone is so accustomed to it. So between these two, I'm really interested to see what kind of compositions could come out. But I more so want to focus on Messiah, and going into this map, what kind of advances do you think that they can take to really try and shut down the way that Harrisburg has really been playing?
Well, I think in all things considered, between Messiah and between Harrisburg seems like just like the better team overall. And I mean, it's to be expected because of the fact that Harrisburg has been together as a unit for so long. They have they have Overwatch League players on their team. Like Mikey was an Overwatch League player. Elk was an Overwatch League player. Like there are a lot of good players on this team. And I think if you're Messiah, you just got to play with the nameplates off, I think, at this point, because you can't go into a matchup like being like, oh, this is Harrisburg. Like we don't have a chance. Like, no, you're trying to just get even one map is like a victory here because because Harrisburg has just stomped their way through this tournament. And if you could take a map off of them, that closes the gap a little bit.
Absolutely. And going into Kings Row is an opportunity to do so. You can see a lot of uniqueness, as we talked about, for composition. But I mean, the other thing too, I think, is really kind of focusing on how Messiah is entering these engagements. There's a lot of times where I think they're finding themselves caught off guard by those single independent picks, whether it's by Elk in the flank, where there is not, I think, as much awareness to that flank being present, or the other part is there's a little bit, I think, too much forward tank aggression that's allowing Messiah to be vulnerable, and Harrisburg is instantly acknowledging this and exploiting it.
Yeah, and I think Harrisburg as well is doing something really good where they have a lot of set plays like you talk about, where the set plays are really something that I think Messiah isn't expecting a lot of the time. And when we look at Harrisburg as a team, like that's just, that's part of their coaching, I think, is just overall like part of their coaching, part of their team as a style. Like they have these set plays that they execute extremely well on, and Messiah College just maybe aren't ready for the plays that Harrisburg University are executing. And you see Harrisburg on the defense here, they're going to be running a brawly type of composition. Again, Elk is going to be on that McCree, which is, it's always interesting because Elk is someone who I remember like way back when he was on Funi as like that main support player. Now switched over to that DPS role, and Messiah College already losing someone. A 0 goes down to Cyrus, and they're just going to hit the go button on Harrisburg.
And again, that's what we touched on. Just that instant takedown just causes so much momentum shift right at the start, and then you have to play catch up from Messiah already when you're going against a team of stars that we've got from Harrisburg.
Yeah, and Cyrus already hitting some nice left clicks here, getting a good amount of ult charge. I mean, this has been one fight and already at that 70%. That's pretty extreme movement going forward, all things considered. And Deathblade, though, is very close towards that nano. That nano could change the entirety of everything here.
Oh, and the wall comes through, just separating a couple of individuals from Messiah, needing to now regroup and fall back once again. The support has been brought down, and you commented on the nano boost, but there's no one really to give it to that's going to gain value just yet.
Yeah, and now if you're Messiah College, you're banking 100% off the fact that this Nano Blade's going to get value. Like, that's really what you've been playing for this entire time. Akawa does not yet have a sound barrier, so there isn't that ability to just instantly suppress the damage, but there's a flank from Cyrus.
Does get slept and taken down, but it's well worth the trade because there is a Bionade to land and maybe try and equalize, but it's still all worth it in the end for Harrisburg, and they're going to swap to Echo anyways.
Yeah, again, more proactivity coming out from Harrisburg University. That flank May, Blizzard getting a ton of value, not letting Messiah College set up their Nano Blade like they would want to, and giving Akawa more time to get the sound barrier, but there's the Nano Blade.
Going in for the backline engagement, attempting to find targets, but it's not coming through. There was an immortality field that was underneath it as well to help fortify any of those long-range slashes. With 2 minutes now to go, you've got Messiah in a very challenging place with already half the time bank gone.
I love what Harrisburg University did there, where they see the Nanoblade go out into their back line, and the front line just says, okay, we're going to go forward and rush onto the front line of Messiah College. There's the Ant Matrix to stop Messiah College from coming in. They're getting obliterated.
Oh, that is so much damage. The Diva just launching rockets that just free fire up front, cleaning house. Elk getting a couple of shots and being involved in the kill feed as well, as now there's 1 minute and 30 seconds left for Messiah.
Nice try for Messiah using that aggressive play, but again, it's just Harrisburg who's reacting extremely well to it. They see the aggressive push coming in. They use Ant Matrix, which is just a death sentence for pushes like that. And Messiah College making a switch over to the Lucioso, offering some speed boost ability to move forward through this chokehold, but there's a self-destruct.
No, doesn't get anything, but it's still going to force reposition around this bus and architecture for Messiah to be unfortunately overrun and allowing, again, another complete takeover for Harrisburg here.
Messiah College still have one more shot at this. They have a Nanoblade to work with. Akawa, again, not close towards that sound barrier. But this time, I think Messiah College should be wary to the fact of how Harrisburg University plays around these Nanoblades. But this is the last shot.
Ooh, Shatter comes out early. Doesn't really get any value. That's a great ultimate to no longer have for Messiah to have to not worry about. The duplicate comes out over top, getting some decent barriers. More so just going to give fortification to Harrisburg on this defense, especially with the Dragon Blade coming through. Does get a grab. Can't seem to get the follow-up with the damage from just sheer force of will from the Zarya, but Elk is there to do so.
Great duplicate there from Cyrus, getting another tanky health bar as well, getting some CC ability with that Graviton Surge coming in from Zarya. Messiah College, last shot here, they have to get someone to point.
Managing to touch at least for a second, does have the Lucio over top, but instantly brought down. Elk does have that high noon for the Deadeye to find the pick amongst this dark night. With the overtime dwindling away, that's going to be Messiah unfortunately unable to claim a tick, with Harrisburg having a full defensive hold.
This is looking convincing right now from Harrisburg University. Full hold right there. After that first map of Oasis, it just looks like Harrisburg has complete control of this series. And it seems like every move that Messiah University is making, they always just, like Harrisburg just seems like 5 steps ahead in the game of like chess right now. Or it's like, oh, you're going to move your king right here or your queen right here. I was already expecting you to do that. And I've planned ahead 3 different turns.
It's like the name escapes me. Do you know what it's called? Where it's like the levels of chess, like where it's like actual multiple tiers or something like that.
4D chess.
4D chess. That was it. They are basically playing 4D chess. Thank you. I'm so glad that I have a co-caster that picks that's able to pick up what I'm putting down. That's literally just in shambles.
I got you. I got you. There's.
I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see what Messiah is going to be able to do on this defense right now. They're going to have to play so tight and coordinated. They're still going to keep this Genji play, which it's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to work out for their composition against Harrisburg, which, I mean, at this point has just been so advancing in their positioning.
Yeah, this means that Messiah University's in it for the long haul here, is they want to have enough time to farm towards that Nanoblade and then use that to try and win a fight. But Harrisburg University doesn't seem like a team that's going to give you that type of time to farm up. And they're going to even use a teleporter for Cyrus. We're going up to the top of Mandata's head. Here we go. And then they're going to drop back down.
It may not be the Bastion strat where there's raining down bullets, but it is for sure going to be Harrisburg raining from above and completely eradicating all those from Messiah, making it an entire team kill. It was basically just like the military when you've got the back of the hatch opening up from the plane and they're just like, go, 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 go. Like, that's what just happened from that statue.
It's just go, 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 parachutes out, and then immediately just everyone on Messiah University falls. Harrisburg University takes a victory here on Kings Row. There it is, the drop down with the parachutes, and Divio is just going to clean up everything with the rest of his team. Elk again, very good performance actually on this McCree. It seems like the kill feed half the time is just Elk. a lot of the time. Akawa having some good KP as well, but man, this Harrisburg University team just looks clean as a whistle, dude.
Yep. I mean, and it sounds beautiful for quite a whistle, clean as that. And I mean, it's again one of those things where we're trying to really focus on, how Messiah is attempting these couple of different things. They want to stick with a composition that they feel confident with, like you mentioned, going in for the long haul, generating towards the Genji blade. But with how Harrisburg is playing, you just cannot, I think, continue that. I think it's something that's going to need to really dynamically change going into this next map, which is going to be an assault that we've got coming up, because if it doesn't somewhat adapt, it's going to be an easy 3-0 here. And this is the last moment that you've got Messiah to take this and turn it into a reverse sweep, my friend.
Yeah, it's put up or shut up right now for Messiah University. They have to get something done. It is their map pick, so maybe they have something planned for this next assault map. But with the way Harrisburg University is playing, I don't know. That it's going to be a tall mountain to climb for Messiah University to try and bring this one back.
And we'll be able to see if those boots have a lot of spikes on them to climb Everest here as we go to a brief break and bring you this next match in just a moment.
Finally the end of the drought. We are back to collegiate season. The summer is over. Everyone's back to play, and
we can come back. The other team came back. More energy, better comms, planning. Remember the fundamentals.
Being benched, it's a wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Remember, guys, always do a little bit more than what you think you can.
There's a lot of pressure on the players to succeed.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play now.
Everyone wants to win.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
This is not the time to be frustrated. This is your only time to prove yourself. Literally the last 2 months of preparation, everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
Esports are competitive video games. There's no roadmap to follow. If we succeed, we have a chance to define what collegiate esports can become. If we fail, the repercussions will be felt throughout the city.
Guys, don't get frustrated during the map. Wait for them to make the mistake.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
More people consume gaming online than the amount of people that consume ESPN, Netflix, and HBO combined.
We are 10 days out.
So you really had 4 starters not playing.
I'm out. I'm just out. A wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
Welcome back, gamers, as we continue on finding ourselves on match point for the Overwatch PA Cup. And Kenobi, this is the moment. This is the moment when we're going to see if Messiah manages to turn this around and at least take a map away from Harrisburg, not allowing them to have a clean sweep of this. But with how well Harrisburg has been playing, that's, as we said before the break, a mountain of a mountain to climb.
Yeah, this was already David and Goliath, but it's now like David and Goliath times like 50 million, right? Like this is you were even when you started, now you're down 0-2. It's going to be a tough mountain to climb, but there are a lot of mountains where we're going next, and that is going to be Volskaya Industries as our next map, and it is Assault, so there is a possibility where this is a chance for Messiah University to bring something out that maybe Harrisburg University isn't expecting. I mean, Harrisburg University, though, again, a very well-coached team and a very good infrastructure behind them that I don't know if there is anything that can catch them off guard necessarily. It feels like you have to really bring out something different.
And I mean, there are some uniqueness to this. I mean, we've seen some when it comes to, you know, Winston play. Winston did recently get a buff. There's also, you know, the consistency of seeing the Reinhardt and the Zarya, as always, just having that brute force from a defensive position or on the attack where you just rush right in and there's no slowing that locomotive that is Harrisburg on a lot of those rush compositions. So with this type of map, I could definitely see the time banks in these being extremely high, with, you know, especially if we have Harrisburg starting out on the attacking side, since again they do have the choice since Messiah did lose the previous map.
Yeah, but Assault is one of those maps where you can also just get stuck in the mud, right? And you're just like, you know, you're playing well, but just like the fights are getting so chaotic and hectic that trades are happening. And if you're on the defensive side in these maps, trades favor you 100%. 1v1 or one-on-one trades are just in your favor. So if this game kind of gets to the point where there's a lot of, you know, chaotic fights and stuff like that, that might be where Harrisburg might not look as good as they've looked so far. If Messiah brings them down to like that more brawly, chaotic style where Harrisburg likes to play very executed, very standard types of compositions and plays, that might be where Messiah College can try and bring this.
I mean, the other part, too, is also maybe a little bit more of a flexibility when it comes to the hit scan dynamic. We've seen also some Widowmaker on this map. We've seen some Ashe play on this map. And we can already see here as we take a look going into this that for the defensive side, you can see Harrisburg opting to defend first, that Elk's going to come out with this Ashe play for that nice long-range hit scan, but still having that explosive radius damage with the Dynamite.
And they're bringing back a composition that was kind of took over last year during the back end of the season of Overwatch with like Gauntlet and things like that. This was the composition that you were running. It was maybe, you know, you had some changes where it was a Sigma instead of a Roadhog, but this is pretty much the same exact composition. And for Harrisburg University, I'm going to be interested to see what Elk does on this Ashe. He's going to have the pocket of the Mercy, so a lot of incoming damage could happen, and it's Luigi Fox is going to have to play extremely carefully because Elk has been on it today, and I don't want to be in the sky against this guy.
And you can see already having to play towards that low ground, knowing that the hit scan is there from Elk in the back, needing to use this architecture, but damage is coming through from that high ground position where Cyrus is able to just follow up onto it, instantly getting these picks.
Yeah, and that's really the beauty of this composition, where you can just get members down if you're Harrisburg University, and Cyrus can come in, clean up those kills, and then it's just done and dusted. Harrisburg University already taking a minute about away from Messiah University, and Messiah University don't really have a lot to work with coming into this next fight. As the Tracer, Mikey's actually just deciding to duel the Tracer themselves and actually doing a pretty good job at it.
And look at how much time and just investment is there in that small room as Mikey just continues to sustain all on their own with that defensive barrier with a few members inside. The bigger the shield, it grows. So Solms now even going to take down the Echo play here on this Zenyatta, finding a couple orbs to connect and resetting once again.
And you can see just how much pressure Mikey is absorbing here on this Hammond. Already took 3 people into that small room along with them. And Harrisburg University, Bob already have here for Elk committed into this fight.
And you can see the Tracer coming through by X22, attempting to force back members on that high ground from Harrisburg, but there is just such a great coordinated play with the Mercy, with the Zen, the Discord Orb, just making it even easier to bring down these targets. And once again, you can just see here these picks coming out.
Oh, the peel is so good from Harrisburg University. It's got to be so frustrating for Messiah University as well, because it's like, what do? We've gotten these nice dives onto those backline members, but every single time it feels like a 1v1 turns into a 1v2 or a 1v3. Just everyone on Harrisburg is doing such a good job of keeping the key members of their composition alive, and it's Luigi Fox has had a really rough time on this Echo so far, and Cyrus is able to take down X22. Messiah's going to have to wait a little bit longer to engage here.
Yeah, they don't want to go in on this, but you can see still the Reinhardt being a little bit further forward. Needs to be careful. This is another opportunity for Harrisburg to just exploit that forward position. Does manage to get a pickup. You do have the Reinhardt go down as well, and that's going to be Messiah now only with 1 minute and 30 seconds to work with.
Oh, and there, goodbye, says Mikey
Despite
to
the
the
nerf.
Zenyatta. And...
Despite the strength nerf of the knockback.
This is not looking good. Soams takes out X22, and that's been a matchup that Soams has been winning significantly here. You look at the ultimates for Harrisburg University. Transcendence is available. They have a pulse bomb here from Cyrus. They don't even know Cyrus is up top. Oh, he's looking for the Echo. Can he get it?
Oh,
Kobe!
Oh!
He almost. They
was
had to force
almost
immortality.
there.
That was close.
Right? It was worth it, though. You're getting rid of the immortality field, something that you really want to have going into this, as you've got 50 seconds. And with the pile drive coming out in the back on the Zenyatta, it forces out the Transcendence. Real Joe now no longer has it, and you've got Deathblade gone, so the Amplification Matrix can't even help you if you do attempt to turn the tide with that offensive pressure. And now only 30 seconds remain.
Oh, and they're going to take down the Reinhardt as well. This is just looking done and dusted. Harrisburg University. I mean, again, Pulse Bomb's available for X22, but are they even going to be able to survive out of this? Akawa's dueling right now. Respect the 1v1. No!
Oh.
Respect the 1v1. Okay, kind of 1v1 at the end there.
I mean, respect the 1v1 or just end up staggering it out. At that point, the stagger out sounds a lot more flattering, with now the duplicate coming through here to get a double tracer to touch the point, starting to capture at least a point, but I mean, it's gonna fall short. The pulse bomb does get quickly generated, but there is more than enough health on that big Roadhog to just survive through it. The overtime dwindles away, and that is round 1 completed with no ticks obtained.
Another full hold for Harrisburg University, and they are just 1 tick away from claiming these grand finals. And I mean, it just seems so coordinated, like clean as a whistle, well-oiled machine. Any metaphor you can use for just a team that is just on it, you can basically put next to Harrisburg University's name. It just Soams as well, just on the Zenyatta, just basically a third DPS. Divio is also basically a third DPS. Mikey was 1v1ing tracers and winning a lot of the time. Like it was an insane defense coming out from Harrisburg University. And for Messiah, it's all or nothing right here. Every ace up your sleeve that you have to bring it out right now.
I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Bastion play to try and no, it's okay. X22 is gonna go on a tracer. I mean, you try and throw a curveball in there, but
maybe a Bastion play from the offense. Maybe. Ooh.
You know,
what about that?
You know, that would be interesting, but we're going to see, here we go. Cyrus already looking to hover over the Symmetra. It's going to be most likely that instant strat. Once again, I could definitely see that teleporter going right to that high ground in the back. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they don't want to take that type of avenue. But with the composition that Messiah has, I do at least like the fact that they've got the McCree to really try and slow down any sort of momentum. But the question is will it going to be enough?
Yeah, and the thing is that Harrisburg isn't really running anything that the McCree is going to be able to use the CC for. Maybe you can stun the Reinhardt, but I love what Harrisburg's doing here. They're going through the other side of the point, going through coast, and they're just going to run and take the high ground away. This is so smart. I love this. And now they just set up on the high ground and rush on the point.
Yep, they're going to look to try and force back into the small room, but there is that Mega Pack and the Mini that can be used by Messiah. Does get overwhelmed slightly, but Messiah does use those health packs and positioning to their advantage that they will stop Harrisburg. It is not a full take down this first attack on Volskaya.
And I mean, credit to X22, who had a bit of a rough full sky at the start, but there comes up clutch with a bunch of really nice kills. Is also able to get to the pulse bomb too, so that's a key cooldown that they're going to be able to use in this next fight. 3 minutes left for Harrisburg to get this, and Messiah University just need to do that a couple more times, and they could very easily draw this map.
I mean, the fact that you also had a couple of swaps come in by Boldivio and Cyrus, you're losing that ultimate charge that was generated, even if it was a small amount, but Elk gets the double. Both tanks are down. No front line remains. Messiah scrambling with what lies in proximity of that point. No one can keep alive as just taking a squat right there on the point. Just a little bit of a crossed leg seat and just saying, all right, fam, that's going to be Harrisburg managing to take this 3rd year in a row of the PA Cup Overwatch champions.
And this is a reason why we consider them a Big Four, a reason why they've won it 3 times in a row. This team is just on another level in the collegiate scene. The best team in PA, one of the best teams in collegiate. And Harrisburg University definitely deserving of this cash prize. I mean, you look at Cyrus had a 25 eliminations, 19 kill streak. That's pretty good.
Absolutely. And, you know, Messiah still leaving with a little bit of change themselves, 600 to that 2nd place. So each one going to be able to have something to walk home with, which is still an exciting moment. But yes, Harrisburg demonstrating just their pedigree and just the ability to be a real top competitor is stellar to just be able to witness and be a part of, not only just in this tournament, but in their adventures ahead, Kenobi.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. They have a lot of... this is like really the start of the collegiate season, so there's definitely a lot more Harrisburg University we're going to be seeing in these collegiate Overwatch games. It is going to be awesome to see what they can do going forward, because this team just looks, like I said, out of this world on another level.
And, you know, with that being said, we're going to be able to pick the brain of one of these individuals in just a moment, because we've got an interview coming up with our champions. So don't go anywhere, friends, because we'll be heading to a brief break to allow them to get into the interview, and we'll be seeing you in just a moment.
Finally the end of the drought. We are back to collegiate season. The summer is over. Everyone's back to play, and
we can come back. The other team came back. More energy, better comms, planning. Remember the fundamentals.
Being benched, it's a wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Remember, guys, always do a little bit more than what you think you can.
There's a lot of pressure on the players to succeed.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
Everyone wants to win.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
This is not the time to be frustrated. This is your only time to prove yourself. Literally the last 2 months of preparation, everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
Esports are competitive video games. There's no roadmap to follow. If we succeed, we have a chance to define what collegiate esports can become. If we fail, the repercussions will be felt throughout the city.
Guys, don't get frustrated during the map. Wait for them to make the mistake.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
More people consume gaming online than the amount of people that consume ESPN, Netflix, and HBO combined.
We are 10 days out.
So you really had 4 starters not playing.
I'm out. I'm just out. A wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!
we have reached the climactic ending where Harrisburg takes 3 years in a row for the Overwatch PA Cup. Again, I am Rich Red here with Kenobi, and we have the amazing and wonderful pleasure of being joined by Elk. And seriously, my friend, it is always a pleasure to have the time to talk with you and just to keep up with you and seeing how this team plays. How are you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling good. It's always great to have a day of matches where you don't drop a map and you feel like everybody played pretty well. Balancing it all with midterms this week has been pretty exciting, but it's also exciting to get to look forward to finishing that stuff out and getting a week off.
Definitely. I mean, I'm also in the middle of my midterm, so I'm praying for that next week to just be like, I don't have to worry about anything school for like a week. I can just chill and totally be fine. I can do whatever I want, play the games I want. I mean, I'm right there with you on that midterm.
I'm old, so that was a long time ago.
Yeah, fair.
But you know, with how you've been playing, you said you haven't dropped a map. You're looking to continuously work through this year. What are kind of the things that you're looking to maybe like evolve in your preparation for the year for yourself and for your team, and what have you kind of done to help elevate that bar for yourself continuously?
Yeah, so I especially think this year for Collegiate is going to be huge. 2021 as a whole, we see a lot more ex-Contenders players or people with Contenders/Trials experience coming into Contenders, especially with us coming into Collegiate, especially with us picking up Mikey and like the Northwood University team and Maryville. So I think that as those teams get better, every team has to do more to like stay on their game and keep catching up. So really just staying at pace with them, I think, is really the goal. Like, if I had to name two rivals, it would be Northwood and Maryville. So those matches in TESPA are definitely what I'm looking forward to the most. And if I had to set a goal for myself this semester, it would be beating those two teams.
Absolutely.
That just seems like a
Hard
pretty
concrete
good goal.
goals.
I had a question. I mean, yeah, gotta have goals, gotta have it planned out. We were talking with you. You seem to just have all the plans ready and rearing to go, Elk. I had a question about you as a player, because I remember you back when you were on like Funi, you were like the main support, and like you transitioned over to the DPS. How's that transition been going for you? Because I know you played it last year. Do you still enjoy playing the DPS role? Do you ever miss like going back to main support, or is the DPS just like what you've stayed to for the time being?
I'm pretty game to play anything most of the time. My peak SR has been on DPS back in like season 14 or something at like 4680. Obviously I've hit over 4600 on main support too, but really I just want to play whatever the team needs, be that Mei, be that Tracer, be that BAP. I'll really play whatever. I still think my strongest hero is BAP, and probably the main supports I'm definitely better on, but it's really just about maximizing, you know, like what does our team need at the moment and where can I give the most value to the team pretty much.
And it shows your flexibility across the board from what we've seen just over time has been very, very helpful to the team as a whole. But I mean, still there's so many individuals that, you know, bring a lot of talent into this. And, you know, who would you say in your team is like the kind of person that you most synergize with? I always just like to see, like, you know, who do you feel like most like we have like this wavelength, like we know with you having like the flexibility of so many different positions?
I think it really depends on the day. You know, I've been playing with most of the HU guys for over a year now. Mikey is the only person who is new to the team, but again, I played with him on Sky Foxes before I made the decision to jump to Collegiate. So pretty much everybody, depending on the day, I think can have that synergy with each other.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when I watch your games just as a unit, like you guys always look like so synergized and such on the same page. Do you guys like how often do you scrim? Do you guys do team building exercises together as just like, you know, whether it be in Overwatch or in any different games? Like, do you guys always just have this like good camaraderie with each other?
Yeah, I mean, like all teams go through ups and downs. You'll have times where people are upset and people are stressed. You'll have times where everything's working wonderfully. So it's really just about getting through those rough patches and kind of making it to the next high point. For us, we usually scrim 6 days a week, and then we have matches, or 5 days a week, an off day and a match, depending on really the week and what it needs. Sometimes we have an extra off day, like going into spring break, we'll probably have 1 or 2 extra off days. For team building, when we're all online due to COVID, not really. It's pretty hard to do stuff, but I know a lot of players, myself included, play other games like Valheim's a new one that came out, Valorant, we sometimes play together, TFT, League of Legends, like just playing fun games outside of Overwatch in a group can help with that stuff too over time.
Yeah, just a little bit to kind of step away and decompress a little bit and not feel like it's just always Overwatch all the time, just completely immersing yourself in it. And it's a good way, I would see, to step away and be like, all right, like I can do other stuff, and I need to like a mental decompress. But I mean,
want to go
honestly,
be a Viking in Valheim.
Right? But I mean, honestly, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of this, to continue to see not only your adventure, but you know, your team's adventure, Harrisburg, you know, putting on this tournament and having the opportunity to compete with so many others in this region, and just be able to give that scholarship money and those types of things to individuals. And you taking the #1 spot consistently and keeping in, you know, that top 3, top 4, like we've talked about for so long. And you know, with the rest of this year, I could definitely see an opportunity of where, you know, you hit that goal with not only the way that you know, hold yourself, but your team, and how they hold themselves, you know, accountable for everything, and just constantly putting their prestige forward. And we're really, really looking forward to seeing what you have to bring for the rest of this year. And it's been a pleasure to speak with you again, Elk.
Yeah, been a pleasure for me too. PA Cup's always fun, especially when once COVID dies down and we're able to actually have these events in person. Those are some of the cooler events to go to like see the local crowd and stuff. So yeah, totally.
Well, hopefully that can be sooner than later with the way that the world is. But we don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you said you have midterms. We want to give you an ample amount of time to finish that up, so we don't have any last minute, like, either lack of sleep or trying to spam click it to send it off. So we wish you a wonderful rest of your night. Celebration to all of your team, and it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thanks for having me on again, guys. Thanks for hosting. Thanks for casting. I'm going to go back and watch the VOD. I'm sure it'll be great. Have a good one.
All right, take care.
Thank you, Hawk.
And again, for all of those that have been tuning in, that have been here and involved on all spectrums, we truly appreciate you being here and just a part of this adventure. Kenobi, it's always a pleasure to be on this adventure with you, no matter what it is, no matter what we cast. Collegiate, it's just a great facet.
Yeah, I mean, Collegiate's been great today. A lot of we had a lot of stumps just throughout the entire day, but I mean, it's always good to see good Overwatch, and that's exactly what we were given today during this PA Cup. Watching a team like Harrisburg University just do their thing, really, it's just awesome. It's really awesome to see just high-level quality Overwatch, and here at the PA Cup, that's exactly what you got.
And from all of us here, honestly, it's like I said, been a pleasure. That's all for us here for this evening. We had League of Legends and Overwatch just to bring you some excitement. 3 years in a row, both game titles. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Take care, happy gaming, and we look to see you next time.
finally the end of the drought. We are back to collegiate season. The summer is over. Everyone's back to play, and
We can come back. The other team came back. More energy, better comms, planning. Remember the fundamentals.
Being benched, it's a wake-up call of we need to work even harder.
Remember, guys, always do a little bit more than what you think you can.
There's a lot of pressure on the players to succeed.
I'm kind of worried about how our teammates are going to play it out.
Everyone wants to win.
We just need to go up on stage and put on a performance.
This is not the time to be frustrated. This is your only time to prove yourself. Literally the last 2 months of preparation, everything we've done comes down to today, this match.
1, 2, 3, start!